And we're back. Guess what? It's finally Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you guys. Come on in. You know the drill. We're back. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and it's another episode of, well, David and the murder case with Celeste Autopsy, sick phone images, and wiretapping. Guys, what happened and what's next? We're going to get into all that, but first, let me say hello to everybody. We've got a lot to digest today, but what I'm going to do is I'm trying to make it a little as lighthearted as you could make this sick, disgusting case. However, major trigger warning, because when we do go over the autopsy results, it's a lot, guys. And if it's triggering for you, ever had a loss in the family, a child gone, it's very disturbing. All right. And me too, rightfully so, cuff you. I've been obsessed with this case. I can't figure out either, but now that I'm looking through the documents and seeing the things, cuff you, I think they were already, he was under a huge investigation. They were watching him. All right. They were watching him and they were waiting. Now, how did he get away with killing Celeste allegedly and then her being missing for months and months and months? That I don't know. But as we dig through this, we're certainly going to find out. Now, another thing, guys, what's up, Edith? Good to see you. Another thing in this case is that we've added a whole new level of depravity. Yes, there's 3 grand jury hearings. I'm going to get to that, cuff you. I'm going to get to all of that. We're going to start all that off. I just want to say hello to everybody, get that energy up. It's Friday. I've got a goal. If y'all can help, either like and subscribe is free, sharing and hyping is free. Get yourself a membership. If we make the goal today, I will give out another Guilty of Crime book. And then also we're going to be giving memberships throughout the episode. Yes, all of the stuff you guys are talking about is everything we're ready for. There's a third victim, which means Celeste was one. There was a second one. There's probably more now coming out now that I'm in totality watching everything. I mean, I'm on Reddit, I'm on X, I'm on every platform to find everything. So you guys are kind of you guys are going to be in for a treat today, because there's a lot of information coming at you. This is not a typical episode where it's like, hey, here's the Celeste case and we're talking about one thing. Oh no, we're talking about all of it, guys. We're talking about what the hell happened in court yesterday, what's happening next, what happened today, what's happening next week. I mean, we're just going to get all of it. There's so many things in this case that it's disturbing. Now, her autopsy, guys, that autopsy that they had out for Celeste Rivas was hidden from us. It was actually done back in 2025 because I have a copy and so does everyone else. They determined that in 2025 and then they did nothing. All right. They did nothing with it. They sealed it so that it wouldn't contaminate the witnesses. Now, another thing, the witnesses, everybody's turned on David. His own brother went on to Reddit or X, one of the platforms. His own brother said, I hate pedophiles. They should all die. Something like that. Quote unquote, air quote. Asia is against him. Neo is against him. And I got to tell you, there were 3 secret grand jury hearings with all of the people that they made come in. And guess what? If they didn't come in, then they were going to arrest them like they did Neo. What they did probably was force them to come in, give them immunity for their part of what they know, and bam, those people are going to be right there at trial. But there's 40 terabytes to go through. And like I told y'all in the last episode, he's going for a speedy trial. All right. He doesn't want to sit there for 4 years, 4 years. He did not waive his right to a speedy trial. And he demanded that they move forward fast. So May 1st is coming up next. I knew he was going to play that. I knew it. Some people are saying he might take a deal. Guys, there's no deal. There's no deal. This guy was already being investigated. Celeste was one of the victims and she ended up like torn apart like a wolf. Like a wolf would have tore her apart, an animal. And then we've got this third person, they had to take down their handle and name, the third victim that doesn't want to be named, other victims that are coming out, and the things that are being said in the D4vd community. Guys, he was doing that. He's a straight up pedo. And it got so much worse when they took his phone and found a bunch of CSAM. Now, on today's episode, when you look at the thumbnail, it says child, and then it's blocked out with porn. But I want to try to make sure you guys understand that CP or child porn is not really that. We're getting it's renamed to CSAM, child sexual abuse material. But I'm just trying to help get that changed over to that. We should never call it child porn because porn is for adults that are consenting. Children cannot consent. All right. So thank you for being here, Cool and Chris, and the Guilty of Crime membership to get us started off. And I haven't even drank this yet, Allie. I just got started. It's Friday, baby. I'm always in a good mood. What's wrong with you guys? What happened? You can't see something? You can't hear me? What's happening? Yeah, am I frozen? Who's anybody? Where's my mods? Mods. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with my part. I can see everything just fine. All right, so let me say hello, and then we're just going to jump into it, guys. I hope we get a house full tonight, and I hope we can meet that goal. All right? A lot of you guys, I wasn't on here yesterday, but that's because my daughter needed me. So you guys don't have to worry about me. If I'm not on for a day, I've been here for over 2 years, every single day, Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock. I'm okay. It's usually somebody needs me, or I have a work thing, or I got to take baby Guilty on a whatever. It's nothing. Yeah, it's always good. I'm probably one of the most consistent people and a creature of habit that does the same damn thing. So you don't have to worry about me, but I do appreciate you guys for checking in. I only got back to like 2 people. I can't respond to everyone, guys. Deb says tomorrow Stefan's birthday, second one of his life I've missed. I know all of you hate him, and I can't fault you for that. Yeah, and you know what sucks even more is that this case is now being compared to what Stefan Stearns did to Madeline Soto. So, although for you as a mother, I sympathize with you, Deb, and you know how much of the Guilty of Crime family you're a part of. So I'm sorry that you have to go in that way, but I mean, this is an awful crime. What David did to this little girl and others is horrific. He ripped her apart. And if you saw my cover, if you saw my thumbnail, I don't know if you saw him holding a saw. There's pieces of blue filament. They use filament in 3D printers inside of the cut. So we're going to talk about that too. I think he used a 3D printed saw. All right. Just like Luigi Mangione, who used a 3D printed gun. You could melt it down and you never know the evidence, that you never know what went behind it, except for when you leave little shreds of filament and the filament comes back to match a certain brand, and boom, there's your 3D printer. You did what with it? Thank you. Felicia's getting us started with the $2 super chat. Justice for Celeste Rivas. Thank you, Felicia. Good to see you, my friend. Mama Pearl's in the house. Tiff. Krista. Maybe a blue. Nope. No blue tarp, my friend. No blue tarp. I know what I'm. I'm surrounded by the 3D printing machines, and I have the autopsy report. It is not a blue tarp. There are blue pieces of plastic, but it's actually filament that's inside of the cuts. And then when it starts to get to the bone, well, it's not. It wasn't. He didn't use steel. No wonder he had to rip her apart like that. Oh, yeah, it's a lot today. So, guys, happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a good Friday. Sander, I'm sick. Well, yeah, you just chill out. You can chill out in the background. We got you. Prayers for you. I hope you feel better. Jen's a gypsy. Don't tease Jay. Okay, I'll be eating some good Colombian food. You do that. I need my, I just finished my whole shift. baby guilty at school. I did a whole day at work, and now I'm here with y'all. So let's just get into it then. There's a lot, guys. Okay, so first we're talking about autopsy, pedo images, and wiretaps. What happened yesterday, and what's next? Okay, now let me tell you something quickly. David has no idea. In my opinion, he had no idea that they were investigating him at all. They also had him wiretapped after Celeste Rivas' death. So they were watching what he was doing, but there was a disconnect there. And after she went missing, I guess they were able to file. You have to go to a judge. You have to get an okay to wiretap somebody's phone, and especially somebody that has money. They tapped his phone, you guys. They straight up had his phone tapped speculatively after she died, either right after or right before. Either way, they already knew that, like Celeste said on the video, oh, what, raping kids? Shut it down, delete this all. They already knew. They were already looking at him. Celeste's parents had already talked to law enforcement. Other girls had already told on him. He's a dumb idiot. He could have done a few years and hopefully castrate this mofo, and he would be out. He's going to be in there the rest of his life, guys. I doubt he'll get the death penalty, but he's just a straight up pedophile. Like, I don't know if he was born to be, but law enforcement did not expect to find 10. I'm going to tell you, there's 40 terabytes. They said there was about 10 terabytes that they found of CSAM material, and they're not saying that any of it was Celeste. All right. So it could literally be several other children that he did that to. All right. So, and I ask you this, who's who? He plays trickery on us, guys. He plays trickery. And yes, I'm going to pump this up there because he is in deep shit without a paddle. Okay. He purposely did this. So as we run this episode, I want you to pay attention as much as you can to the people and the faces. All right. That is not Celeste Rivas. And it's hard to tell the difference in many pictures when they're at concerts, when they're trying to hide her behind the glasses. Who's who? One's legal. Asia's the one on the bottom. And the 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez that's no longer with us is the one on the top. But he plays trickery lots of times during the investigation of him being a pedo. This is what he was doing. And guess what? That person, Asia, seems to be hiding out now. She's trying to distance herself from David. But guess what, guys? She was there while he was raping this little girl, while she was high all the time. They knew what was going on. So did Neo, allegedly. And so did David's brother. David's brother was there. They show him backstage with a picture of Celeste. Nobody did anything. But now they're distancing themselves from him. Go figure, right? No more money, no more loyalty. That's how it goes. So I ask you, who's who? That's trickery right there. That's trickery, right? Can you tell which one's which? Maybe David couldn't bag Asia, so he had to get an 11-year-old. I don't know. But they met between 11 and 12 when she was 11 and 12 years old. All right. All right. So we're looking at that today. We're looking at right now. I'll just get to a third victim. They took the post down and then they put it back up. So I'm just going to document it here before it gets pulled down again. Victim number 3. All right. Listen up, please. This is the victim number 3. For those saying that I did not go to the authorities, that's the first thing. I did. Like, are you guys serious? Obviously, I went to the authorities. I'm involved in this. Your comments are insensitive and rude. I went through so much, so you guys need to calm down and realize what the victims went through. I know there are other girls out there like me. I had a strong relationship with David, and all the news that came out brought everything horrible back to me. And I want to be able to live my life without only being with the David case. I'm doing everything I possibly can to help this case. All right. This is exactly what I haven't come to show, why I haven't come to show my face to the media, because you all are like this. Be kind to those who are suffering through this. I have done everything possible. David is not a good person, and I am lucky to be here. That's all, and thanks. All right. Yeah. Asia's too old for him. Asia's super pretty. He couldn't bag a grown woman. So this is one of the victims here, and this victim is working with law enforcement. I want you guys to realize that. There are people that didn't, and there are people that did talk to law enforcement. This is one of them. You got to remember, there's going to be another trial. They're not botching this in together. Okay, if you guys were with me on the Stephen Stearns trial, or the Stephen Stearns / Madeline Soto case, you remember the day they found a shitload of CSAM on his phone, but she was already dead? Well, they separated one case for murder and one case for CSAM. Now, for the CSAM, Stephen said guilty. He pled guilty to all that shit he had that they found, but then he pled no contest to the murder. So I'm wondering, is it going to go in that direction? I can't imagine them even offering him a plea. But guys, they have a whole nother monster on their hands now, because now they have CSAM. They've got this case that they were investigating him raping young girls. Now they've got a bunch of CSAM, which is highly illegal. And then on top of that, you got the murder case with 3 of the heaviest charges that you could get in California. We're not even in Florida. He's screwed, guys. What's up, everybody? How you doing, Danielle? Good to see you. He's an absolute monster. And, I wish we knew before, but that's okay. We didn't know before her cause of death because they told us they didn't want to interfere with anything. But if you look at the dates on the document, look down on the bottom right. 9/19/2025 is when the medical examiner signed off on this. That's November of last year. When you and I were talking about this last year, and I was talking to you about Neo being David's boyfriend and he's bisexual and all that bullshit, we all had it wrong the whole time. They were already working on this and trying to solidify the very strongest case they could. So if you look down there, November of 2025, November 19th, they already knew that. Now, look at, we're talking about a murder weapon, and then we're talking about what he used to saw the body apart. Now, her cause of death was a stab they said the stab punctured her liver. One stab, if you look at the picture, one stab punctured the liver and the other stab punctured the lung. She would have been bleeding out everywhere, and she would have not made it. A lung and a liver, you can't survive those wounds. Now, once she's dead, then this is all the stuff that happened. Her eyeball is gone, fingers are missing, she's liquefied, she's skeletal. I mean, there's literal pieces of her body gone. All right. Yet 2 of the fingers were gone, but he left the one with the tattoo. So let me do this. And I don't want to get into any hard conversations about, I don't want people to start attacking anyone. We're talking about the David and Celeste case. So everybody be good, please. Be good to our guilty of crime people. All right. This is a pedophile. He is a major pedophile. He was being investigated, and he killed one of the witnesses, period. We are going to get into everything, but I don't want to talk about the Stephen Stearns case, or I don't want to start talking to Deb about her stuff. Deb, you know how much we got love for you. I don't want someone coming in chat and starting to talk shit or derail the case. Okay? Stephen Stearns, he's locked up. He's never getting out. This guy, David, he's a little tiny guy, and he was a pedo. All right. We're just getting started. They found a ton of CSAM, and now we move forward. I just don't want anyone coming in here attacking anybody, because this is a hard topic. Okay. And people's parents don't do that. Don't make them do that. The bad thing about This guy's parents, David, is they knew what he was up to. They were not surprised when he was arrested. That's why they transferred the deed and everything into their name. They knew, guys. They knew. Yes, guilty of crime membership. Thank you for Christopher, who's gone way too soon. If you want to put that in there, Foxy, yeah, thank you. If you just put that in there, I'll always post it if chat's not flying. All right, because I'm already the Price is Right girl, right? All right, so before we even get any further, let me tell you this. Here's a rundown. And thank you for all the ladies that helped me, all the mods that are here today, all the mods if you're not here, and for sending me those files. To the mod that did, thank you so much. All right. Okay, so let me start here. I missed yesterday with you guys, but don't think I wasn't paying attention to every little detail about everything. All right. So April 23rd was yesterday. That was court. Okay. And I knew this was going to happen because if they don't push the prosecution, then David will be sitting in that jail for 3 or 4 years until trial. He has not signed a speedy trial waiver, which means we're going to see trial very, very quickly. Now, if one of you guys want to look it up while I'm telling you, or I'll look it up after, how many days do you get if you don't waive your right to a speedy trial? That's how long they have. All right. So I didn't miss anything. The next confirmed court date, guys, and this is insisted upon by David Anthony Burke's team. Evidentiary hearing is scheduled on May 1st, 2026. Now, that hearing is scheduled to last 4 to 5 days, and it will determine whether there's enough evidence for the case to proceed to trial, which is a joke because we know it is. If anybody's saying, is there enough evidence in their title? Guys, just click right out of there because there's so much evidence. That's why they took the time they did. All right. Now, during the court hearing yesterday, prosecutors and investigators provided updates on the scope of the investigation. And listen, it's always weird because this is like it's almost like ominous that the hearing took place yesterday. That was exactly 1 year, 365 days after April 23rd of 2025. That's the date that prosecutors allege Celeste Rivas was killed. Okay? Isn't that kind of creepy and ominous? Literally a 1 year. They say that on that day yesterday, a year ago, he took her life. You ask, how did they know? Well, they know by her electronics stopping. They know by her communications to her brother no more, to her parents. They know Neo. They know Asia. They know all the crew. And all the crew stopped seeing her, and she stopped talking after that date. All right? That's why the prosecution took it. Absolutely, because they weren't looking into a death. They were looking into a case of pedophilia. They already had the criminal investigation going, and then one of their witnesses goes missing. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about a lot today is the autopsy, the witnesses, the sick phone images, how that's going to roll into a new case, and what actually really happened yesterday. All right. So listen, the investigators did state that they collected 40 terabytes of data during the course of the investigation. Now, guys, you know what makes sense about that? What makes so much more sense about them? Hold on, let me remove this and put this up. What makes so much sense about what is going on with them? Hold on. I've got like 3 different. Okay. Is that they just are going to have two different trials, 2 different things. They didn't plan on this. Okay. But the chock full of child porn. Again, I'm trying to get you guys and all of us trained to say CSAM instead. All right. All right. So I don't want to keep that on there because I don't want that word on there. But yesterday, the assistant district attorney did confirm that they had 3 separate investigative grand juries. Did you guys know that? The first grand jury convened November of 2025. Guys, that's when they knew the cause of death and the autopsy. Yes. Okay, so in November, when that was signed off on, we go back to the autopsy that was signed off in November. That was the first month that they did an investigative probe grand jury. Then again in December 2025. Then again after the new year, February 2026, when we all jumped because Neo was arrested. Guys, you know what makes sense why they have 40 terabytes of data? They were watching Neo. They were already watching him. They had him wiretapped for almost a freaking year. Okay? Almost a year. He had a wiretap conducted on him as part of the case. Prosecutors stated that during the search of Burke's iPhone, which was after he got arrested, had a significant amount of CSAM. It was discovered, and prosecutors stated they're going to turn over the discovery to the defense. Now the defense is shaking. They're not as confident. Everybody that was in the court yesterday said they got nervous when they announced all the CSAM on his phone, all right, or his devices. Now, body camera, they also include body camera video, DNA trace evidence, property reports, vehicle reports, photographs, forensic reports. The courts were advised that those materials will have to be provided to Burke's defense on the next court appearance that's scheduled for April 29th. So although there's May 1st set for the evidentiary hearing, they want all of that stuff on April 29th and then April, May. So right before they start, right? So it's crazy, guys. This is gonna speed. Thank you. Appreciate you. I always say 60 or 90 days. I can't keep that much info in my head. So thank you, Isis. I appreciate that. And Choo Choo, thank you, Choo Choo. We definitely want to get to that goal today, guys. All right. Let's try to do that. I definitely want to give stuff away and memberships and all that. What's up, Stoney? Good to see you. All of you guys, thank you for all the stuff you've been sending me. It's been great. All right, let's get into this first part so that we can start seeing, visual. So this now murder alleged and pedo alleged, they found a ton. Listen, David's iPhone contains a ton of CSAM material, at least according to prosecutors. Now, the singer was in court yesterday, and there's many people that were in court, but they couldn't film it, so they came back and reported he was in court yesterday, which was exactly 1 year to the day when prosecutors claimed that he murdered Celeste Rivas. Now, for a status hearing, which is going to take 4 to 5 days, the judge set that for May 1st. All right. And then at the end of April, they need to give everything, all the discovery to his defense team. Now, during the hearing, prosecutors claimed that they went through his phone and they found a significant amount of CSAM, and it's unclear if the alleged CSAM features Celeste or not. All right. There's his mugshots. Prosecutors also revealed that a wiretap was involved in the investigation. They said that the wiretap took place last year, guys, but there's no other specific dates or any of that. It's just a bunch of digital forensic evidence. Now, David was shackled and wore an orange gel jumpsuit, which I wish I would have got to see. Because listen, David, you're going to be living in orange forever, okay? He was shackled too. He was calm, cool, and collected. He looked kind of bored, is what people said that were inside the courtroom. He spoke briefly to the judge, telling her, yes, ma'am, as she explained how the preliminary hearing or the prelim works. All right. And then we got the medical examiner talking about how she was killed and the penetration, but we're going to get into all that. Now, David's high-powered defense team, led by Blair Burke, told the judge prosecutors had not turned over the evidence, and LA County Deputy Beth Silverman, the district attorney, explained the delay. The prosecutors revealed that there were 3 separate investigative juries, and it sounds like the transcripts will become available at some point. Now, as reported, David pled not guilty earlier in the week, and his defense challenged the district attorney to put their cards on the table or fold, demanding an immediate preliminary hearing. And since he has not signed a waive a speedy trial, guys, we might see a trial in freaking 60 days. Like after that. Thank you so much, True Crime Files. You guys go sub up to her. And if you receive that membership, please thank her. Thank you guys. You guys are already kicking ass. We did that. We did that. Flojo, my guy. This guy knows all the stuff about Celeste and David. My goodness. All right. Thank you guys for the gifted memberships. And please go sub up to both of these channels, Flojo and True Crime Files. All right. I want their chats to be packed. What's up, Jennifer? How you doing? Good to see you. All right. Kristen, everybody. We're going to make that goal today, aren't we? If you don't already know, you cannot permanently delete anything from your... Yeah, that's the thing, man. We're... Well, let's not tell the dummies who now this new world where everything is on either digital audio or video. In your car, it's recording in a Tesla. They know who dumped that body in the Tesla, guys. It's dark. This is going to get dark, and trigger warning. Again, we still can be playful a bit. As a matter of fact, I think the very first clip, I'm going to tell you what's really going on, and you'll see. We could be playful in a case discussing it like this. We don't have to be so hard-nosed, all right? So happy Friday. Like the video, subscribe, notifications. What's up, Millie Mills? How you doing? Yeah, Letitia didn't know either. That's great. Yeah, but we didn't know that they were looking at David for being a pedo. We had no idea. I mean, I didn't. We thought it was just this girl. So anyway, she gave us a big clue when they did the video, and she said graping kids. All right. Now, prosecutors said in court yesterday they were ready for next week's prelim, and they want to go to trial within 60 days. Yes, I didn't even see that yet. Now I'm excited. See, you guys are, oh my goodness, I don't know what that's going to mean. It literally says prosecutors said they're ready and they want to go to trial within 60 days. So that means he is not going to sign that waiver, and we're going to see it coming out, man. I did not see that. That makes me kind of happy, guys. When you're reporting on true crime and you want to get the details and you don't want to wait 3 years. Now, David was arrested by LAPD last Thursday, and prosecutors charged him on Monday in connection with Celeste's death. He was also charged with lewd and lascivious acts with a person under 14 and mutilation of a human body. Prosecutors claim David killed Celeste with a sharp instrument, and LA County medical examiner says the teenager died from multiple penetrating injuries before her arms, legs, and 2 fingers were sawed off. All right. The DA claims that David was having a sexual relations with Celeste when she was under 14, and when she threatened to expose him and devastate his musical career, he invited her over to the Hollywood Hills home on April 23rd, and he killed her. That was the last time anyone saw her. Last time any of her text messages went. That's the last proof of life, is him and her being in that house and never coming back. Remember, he didn't cut her body up for almost 2 to 3 weeks. Prosecutor claims David later cut up the body, stuffed it in 2 bags, and kept her remains in the trunk for over 4 months as the body decomposed. So I don't know if that's right or it's going to come out. I'm not going to argue with what they're saying, because even when you look at these reports, you got Nancy Grace saying this kid is full of methamphetamines, but really when you look at the toxicology report, it says methamphetamine and it says other things, but then it says inconclusive. He cut her fingers and one of her eyes out as well. We're going to get to all that, guys. I know you guys are ready for the gruesome details, but we're getting there. All right, so we got to that. Let me show you something before we get into anything. I kind of want to go over some of the creepy, weird stuff. All right, so I love this D4 or David Idiots. And I don't know, is that you, Flojo? Do you own this group? I don't know who owns this group, but they do a fantastic job of whatever they do. Okay, so check this out. 3 things they noticed. Somebody sent me this yesterday. All right. So I just wanted to send this over. Almost all things weird, stupid, fascinating, and tedious about the David and his fall. All right, so keep it there. I wanted to show you guys this yesterday. Someone had pointed out that these weapons are in fact weapons and could have been used. All right, and then we see a 3D printed one that could possibly be. It says EDC hacksaw, and guys, that's a 3D print. You see that cairn right there? All you need is a part file. It's a file. It's like we call it part file. You know, I run a mechanical engineering company, right? You guys know that I've been working for and running a mechanical engineering company here in the Bay Area for the last 18 years. So I work with Apple, Facebook, Google. We 3D print all day long, all the time. So in order to do that, you have to have a part file that you put into your computer, and the part file will come out with a saw. Okay? Yeah, you know that. Krista knows that. A lot of you guys don't know that, but if you do, I could make that saw. I could make the weapon that what was that guy's name that shot the healthcare guy? United Healthcare guy. He 3D printed his gun. All right. So all of this is going to be on his. I run a mechanical engineering company. I'm the COO or the managing director. All right. I am not a mechanical engineer, but I run the company. I don't need to know the software. I've been there so for damn long that, yeah, that's what I do. That's my job during the day. Yeah, the $3,000 juries face down in the trunk. Yeah, we're going to get to all that. Yeah. I don't. Mangione, yes. Yes. When I heard that Luigi Mangione 3D printed his stuff, I was like, damn, we were just talking about that. Yeah, however you spelled it's fine. So anyway, I was talking to my boss today about the 3D printed hacksaw, and he had a hacksaw on his desk because that's what we do. We're a company that makes, we use part files, we make stuff, we do what do you call that? I don't know. I'm using a stand right now. I'm literally using a stand that he 3D printed for me so that I can look at my phone while I'm talking to you guys. The other day, he 3D printed me some earrings. Yeah, my boss is awesome. And he's making me another stand. He's just the coolest guy. You could make anything you want. We also have we have like some $80,000 machine that molds you can cut the steel parts. I can't think of the name of it, but we have a whole shop, guys. All right. Easy to do. You could melt it down afterwards and nobody would know. However, that trace of the part file is going to stay on the machine. When I say the machine, the 3D printing machine, it's going to stay in your email if you downloaded it. It's going to be on the website where you downloaded it from. Dude, everywhere. Traces everywhere. Member for 5 months. Thank you. Happy Friday, Rose. Good to see you. I know. I wish you were closer, Foxy. I was just thinking that today I needed to send you some stuff. I needed to print you or do some stuff. But yeah, we do all that. Bongs like nothing. Prosthetics. We work with medical companies, Aerojet Rocketdyne, rocket companies, Northrop Grumman, all the big companies. That's why I'm in Silicon Valley. All right. We just finished up Apple training this week for CAM, NX CAM, and CAM is different than like mechanical engineering. It's more of building stuff on that side with machines. So anyway, yeah, you could 3D print a house frame. You could 3D print anything you want as long as you use the correct materials. Now, if you don't use the correct materials, well, then your saw is probably going to fall off into pieces of a cut wound that you're trying to saw something apart with. Just saying. All right. So this loser, my album drops tomorrow with Celeste stuff back there after she's dead. Right. And I'm going to read the things that are weird about it. But this guy, man, I just don't understand. I can't comprehend this line of thought. So 3 odd things quickly that this person noticed. And I love this Reddit place over here just because it gives a lot of info. Number 1, the autopsy reported that there were blue plastic pieces found inside of Celeste's dismembered wounds. Now, she said, I saw a post earlier where someone mentioned 3D printed hacksaw, which is commonly used for cutting through bones of deer. It's also alleged she was dismembered on 5/5/25. David posted this TikTok on 5/17. I could be wrong, but doesn't it seem like these props are 3D printed? Another user mentioned that the hacksaw blades are commonly coated with blue paint. Agreed. All right. Now, second thing, on last year on 4/23/25, David posted his TikTok promoting the drop of his album. Now, that's the day she died. This is the alleged date of Celeste's murder. And the autopsy reports, guys, I got to tell you, if you don't already know, she had her tube top on. She was almost skeletal remains. And you're going to see some pictures with the tube top she's wearing before she dies. She's wearing that same tube top, but she was almost skeletal remains. She also had on her leggings, and underwear, and socks. No shoes. And in his TikTok, Celeste's shoes are literally in the background. All right? Literally in the background. 1, 2, 3. Right here. Her shoes are back here. Whatever pair of shoes she was wearing is back in that picture. On the day she was alleged to be murdered and he dropped his album. Okay? If that doesn't tell you something about this monster, I don't know what does. Can you imagine? Now, I got to tell you, the family is just devastated. All right, I'll thank you guys in a second. I'll just take a quick thank you under your scar so very much for the $5 super chat. Emily, you remember for 16 months. It's okay. You're better. I'm glad you come back. Past perfect. Remember for 8 months, he felt untouchable. Yep. Making people rich. I mean, even his brother is turning on him. He says all pedos should die. All right. Thank you for what you do. I'm being a member for 5 months. Thank you. All right. There's a video of David washing the sneak. Yep. I've seen all of that. I can stay here for 3 hours today talking to you about all the creepy shit that he did behind the scenes. But I want to dedicate this episode to Celeste and us really knowing who Celeste was and seeing who she was and understanding that this is not about David, but it is because of who he is. This is about Celeste Rivas and getting justice for her and the other children that have been raped by this monster. All right. Now, another user mentioned David is wearing the head wrap that Celeste wore in the previous photo. They say, I can't find it, but there's a photo of her at the concert wearing it. From what I've seen, David only started regularly wearing the head wrap, specifically after her date of death. All right. So you guys see what's going on here. We can go through this for hours and I wouldn't be done. All right. I would not be done even if it were for hours. Now we're going to do a quick recap. Hold on. Let's do a quick recap of what the hell happened and what's going on while I set everything else up. Thank you, guys.
David did appear in the courtroom today, a year to the date from when prosecutors say that Celeste was killed by him. I'm going to break down what went down in the courtroom today. Before I get into that, there were a lot of people in the comments asking why David appeared at his arraignment in regular clothes and not an orange jumpsuit. This is common for people who are in the early stages of court proceedings, such as how David is. The court allows them to
Now, this was on 4/23, which is yesterday. He had orange jumpsuits on, so I'm wondering why is he saying maybe he's just taking the picture from the first court date? Because yesterday, guys, he had his orange scrubs on. All right. Oh, God. Discord. Yes. Discord. Oh, my God. So many things, guys. I'm not on a break. What are you guys talking about? Did I take a break? Something happened? What are you referring to?
Wear street clothes, which is just everyday clothes, so that there's not a presumption of guilt in the courtroom when he's first seen. It's argued that if he were to enter the courtroom for the first time already dressed like a criminal, that makes people in the courtroom assume he is a criminal, and that goes against the whole motto of innocent until proven guilty. Today, however, since David has been formally charged, he did appear in the courtroom shackled and in an orange jumpsuit. And during today's court proceeding, prosecutors said that they went through David's phone and and found a significant amount of child sex material. This was footage that David was creating, and based on the fact that we know that he has other minor victims in addition to Celeste, I'm assuming that the videos and the photos were not just of her. This is part of the reason why he is being charged with lewd and lascivious sexual acts with a person under the age of 14.
Now I see people in chat saying who's worse, this guy or Stearns. I'm gonna have to say that David is much worse, because David had the capability to reach out to my daughter, to your daughter, to your grandchildren, to these people's kids, to my neighbor. David had access to these little girls, and he wore pink shoes, and he dressed kid-like, and he did things to attract children. And when David was trying to attract Celeste, allegedly in the beginning, they have all of those. They have all the law enforcement. I've found text messages where he's just meeting Celeste, and David goes into one of the, maybe it's a Discord or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, is Celeste here?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm here." And she answers back like a little kid. She was 11 when that happened, and then she turned 12 by the time he really was grooming her, and definitely by 12, 13, he was already graping her. All right. So wait, what? Someone spelled jail right, or J? Hey, what's up, Gigi? Good to see you. How to slow down the stream. What? The stream's fast? What happened? All right, let's continue.
David's high-profile defense attorney, Blair Burke, told the judge that prosecutors had not turned over all of the evidence that they have, so they are not privy to what prosecutors have against their client exactly. So she's been saying that the allegations against David are just allegations and assumptions, and that he did not do this, and the evidence is going to showcase that, but she doesn't even know the evidence that they have against him. So what she's saying doesn't even hold any merit, in my opinion. During today's court proceeding, Blair Burke said that David and his defense team want an immediate preliminary hearing. The prosecutors agreed. They said that they will be ready for a preliminary hearing next week, and the defense and the prosecution have agreed that they want to go to trial within 60 days. So in some cases, like the Idaho 4 case, the defendant, Brian Koberger, wanted to keep extending things, delaying things. It took years to go to trial. David wants to go to trial right away. So we can see a trial as early as this summer. Now, we know that Celeste died, according to the medical examiner.
Guys, I gotta tell ya, if they do have a trial, I am so tempted to go down there. Flojo, I think you'll be there, right? I can totally, I'm in California, and that's in Los Angeles. So if there does happen to be a trial this summer, no school for the kiddo, man, I'm going down there, Flojo. That's what I want to do. So this is exciting for me to see justice unfolding as quickly as it is, as long as it took them. Okay. It is very crazy, but I knew that was going to happen, because he's not going to want to sit in jail just waiting. He's not going to play that tactic. He wants the frick out, and he thinks, in his sick mind, he thinks he's getting out. Yes, Flojo's the man. Go sub up for him. We'll do a field trip with you and Flojo. Mab can come. Come on, guys. Have a camper. I have an RV, but that means Mrs. Guilty will have to drive me, because I don't drive it. I can drive it, but I don't like to. She's my chauffeur. All right. Let's continue, because we got a lot to get into with the autopsy breakdown, etc.
Due to stab wounds from a sharp object. A lot of people are pointing out the fact that David liked to flaunt this specific knife right here in photos and live streams that he was doing. Where is this weapon? A lot of people are wondering if this is possibly what he used to make those injuries on her. So let me know what you guys are thinking about all of this, and make sure you're following for the latest updates on this case.
All right,
cool. Hey guys, so David,
everything's in the description, my friend. So let's remove this, and we're going to get to the autopsy. I just want to show you, I want to show you Celeste's brother before I forget. Celeste's brother posted here on X. I love X, by the way. The information's great. Celeste Rivas' brother, right? We haven't heard from the family except for a statement. Now, the family did make a statement saying that it was too hard, and when they heard that her eyeball was missing, her fingers were cut, her lung was punctured, her liver was damaged, all the things that they heard, right? And then they had to swab. They have to swab for to see if she was being raped by multiple people. Is there DNA? Things that liquefy. It was bones. They have to check for saws. I mean, it's brutal, right? The family had to hear all that. And this is the brother's response. The family kind of gave the canned response. And I think they're feeling a little guilty because a lot of people are saying the parents should be charged, right? All right, let's continue. I want to show you what Celeste Rivas' brother breaks down, and then I'm going straight to the autopsy, and we're going to get into that. All right, so Celeste Rivas' brother breaks down on live, crying, saying his family is completely broken after Celeste's death and that he can't ever forgive David. Admits he's struggling to hold himself back and he just wants to face him. He says, my whole family is devastated. We're lost. I don't care about the system. I just wish I could face him myself. And that's how we all feel, right? We want to get a shotgun and just one shot to the groin, put him out. All right, let's listen to this. It's only 40-something seconds, and then straight to the autopsy.
Oh, I wanted for you to be Sal. Bro, get out, bro. Sal. Está bien. Okay. Sal la vuelta, bro. I don't care, bro.
No.
I don't care, bro. I don't care about that shit, bro. You just don't do that shit, abuela. You just don't leave somebody you love for somebody else, bro. Bro, no, abuela, that's some bullshit, bro. That shit hurt, bro. I'm sorry, abuela. I don't want to.
Now listen, I mean, this is hard. It's really making my eyes water, and I didn't mean it to do that. Damn it, because we have to go into the autopsies next. This is heartbreaking, guys. Her brother was the last person to talk to her. She told him she was going to David's to watch a movie. All right. So not only that, he knew who she was dating. They all knew who she was dating. She would go with David. We saw her everywhere. She just put a hood on and he media trained her. If this is how the brother is, imagine how the mom and the dad are.
Yeah, my you, bro. I just broke my heart, bro.
Let me go one more time.
I wanted for you to be Sal. Bro, get out, bro. Sal. Está bien. Okay. Sal la vuelta, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care about that shit, bro. You just don't do that shit, abuela. You just don't leave somebody you love for somebody else, bro. Bro, no, abuela, that's some bullshit, bro. That shit hurt, bro. I'm sorry, abuela. I don't want to scream at you, bro. I just broke my heart, bro. I'm sorry, abuela. I didn't mean to scream. I wanted for you to be.
All right. Now, he was close. When we start getting into all the different pictures and images, when they were little, they almost looked like they were twins. That's how close they looked in age. Heartbreaking. I've got some heartbreaking images of Celeste as a baby. And guys, I can't. It's so hard. I can't even get to that until we're done with this because I will not be able to do it when I see the children. When I see the baby pictures of this little brown baby, I can't. So let's get into this because, again, trigger warning, guys. All right, let me pull this down. This is a real case, and these real people here. David's a perv protected by Hollywood child molester. She was 14. How old is he? Note that the people who defend David boycott them, especially those who have daughters or sisters. Poor Celeste. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, Sarah. I agree. So many times he talks about stabbing, killing, and not even caring. We're going to get into all that, guys. We're going to be here for a little while because there's a lot to go over. You know, I don't just do one topic. I'm like, squirrel. And even though we're talking about the same thing, I still squirrel quite a bit. I don't know how I pull this off with y'all every day, but we do it. We make it work, even with my ADHD or whatever the hell I have. Okay, so listen, I am not going to sit here for hours just reading. I want to interact with you guys, and I want to talk, and I want to catch stuff. So I'm going to show you this real quickly, and then I'm going to hop straight to Trapmore Ross. just breezes over what I'm showing you with a 3D printed saw print, as well as quickly Jesse Weber in a 6-minute interview goes over it with Joseph Scott Morgan. So I don't know all the terms and stuff, and I'd rather have the help. Look at that. She was a baby, guys. She was a baby. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, squirrel. Exactly. All right, so I'm just going to quickly go run through this so you guys know. I do have all the documents here. Same documents that everyone else has. All right, medical examiners, death investigation, Celeste Abigail Rivas Hernandez. Now, the date on this was 9/8/2025 at 11 a.m. Like I said earlier, this has been done. This has been done for a long time. They didn't want it to impact the people that had to testify in the 3 probative grand jury, all right, hearings or whatever. Cause of death, multiple penetrating injuries. Homicide, how injury occurred with objects. All right. Dr. Ho, Deputy Grant Ho, medical examiner, we'll see him at the trial, I'm sure. All right. Families of the decedent, please call this number if you have any questions on the material. There's so much, guys. And again, I don't want to sit here days and days and days reading, but 15 years old is what they said her age was. Medical report says severe post-mortem changes, right? 2 penetrating wounds of the torso, you guys saw, right abdomen with injury to the liver, and left chest with penetration of underlining intercostal space and cortical disruption of the adjacent ribs. Now, they are going to pull one of those ribs out, is what they say, and look at the saw marks, because in one bag was her head. They say she wasn't decapitated now. They're saying her head was still connected to her torso, but she's got pieces missing in between her arms and her legs and her fingers. All right, so we'll get into all that. I won't sit here and read all this. The medical examiner says this is Celeste Rivas. She was found dismembered in a state of decomposition inside of a car trunk. September 8th, 2025, death was pronounced at the scene. Autopsy examination was limited by extensive postmortem changes, which means she was very decomposed, eyeballs missing, one eyeball missing, finger missing, etc. All right, so they're just identifying her there, and all the pieces, all the parts, all the sections, so they can take toxicology, eye color. Again, only one of them was there, and it was hard. They couldn't even see the color because they couldn't assess due to the post-mortem changes, and then the other eyeball was just like gone. All right. So everything else, ears were unremarkable, oral cavity, they go into, all that. We should post this on Ghost if you guys want to read it. All right. So then they go into the defects and the injuries. And when you look at the injuries and the defects, you also will notice that her tube top that she has on and any clothing that she had, you'll notice in the trial when it comes out, the clothing had those 3/4 inch wounds. He stabbed right through it and then just left the tube top on. All right. Thank you so much, Lady for Justice. Prayers. And you guys are also helping me get to that goal. So thank you. Oh my goodness. I did not see that. Love. Met Rachel, member for 2 months, and Flojo gifted 10 guilty of crime memberships. Thank you, sir. Cal says, choo choo. I don't know what you said, but I'll take it. And then prayers. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate that. I know you guys were concerned yesterday about me, and I apologize. You say I'm poor. I could only send a membership, and I know Jay doesn't mind, but I always want to save a membership to match. Well, thank you. You don't have to do anything. You just being here, supporting the channel. I appreciate you. All right. So as you can see, guys, it's all here. There's a ton of pages. All right. There's not that many wounds. Only the wounds that killed her were significant, but there were only 2. One was 3/4 of an inch, right? And that entered into the right abdomen. Again, I'm going to let Joseph Scott Morgan, we're going to go over this, but I'm not going to read it all. Then the other skin defect is the 9/16 of an inch, and that was her lateral lower chest, which in the chest area, that would be your lungs. And the skin defect that's 3/4 with the right abdomen would be her liver, right? Right. Adjacent ribs. The ribs show disruption of the cortical bone they sawed her head and torso from her legs and her feet. So the other findings were multiple skin defects present over the entire torso with perforating skin and soft tissue without identifiable soft tissue hemorrhage. Guys, they're also gonna, if I forget to tell you, so the stab wounds range from 5/16 of an inch to 1 2/4 in the greatest dimension. Upper and lower extremities show thickness, full thickness dismemberment. There's a lot. They even go into the body cavities. One smooth, the right fluid, there was none. They go into everything. Cardiovascular. She only weighed 71 pounds, by the way, when they weighed her. All her fluids and stuff had already, and her skin. I mean, it was essentially a lot of bones, which we'll talk about. Also, one of the major things I want you guys to understand is that we're going to have a preliminary hearing soon and a trial. And guess what? Entomologists are going to be in there to testify about the state of, they had maggots. They were maggots, fruit flies, and any kind of bugs that might be in that area. They've already collected those bugs and sent them to an entomologist so we can find out where her body was. Did he take her out to Santa Barbara and was part of the scene there? Did some of the stuff come from a Santa Barbara area where you wouldn't find that kind of vegetation or those kind of bugs? And how late in the stage were the bugs? Were the bugs at the beginning, or did they cycle and they recycle? How big were they? How old were they? How many cycles? How many bugs? You know what I'm saying? All of that is going to be, yeah, it was his grandma. All of that is going to be looking at. Grandma's talking, tell him not to say anything. He says, shut the door. Yeah, I kind of got it. Yeah, exactly. So all of that stuff's going down. I want to know what the forensic anthropologist has to say. Me too, because he ripped her apart according to other people. I want to know what the entomologist. I'm so interested in entomology just because it's just crazy how you can do that. The concept blows my mind, and we're in 2026. All right, we all need to support one another, love, support. Everyone needs it. And I'm thinking you're saying amen, but thank you, MP Daughtry. I do appreciate you. Heard there were even bugs. There were even dead bugs. Yeah, frozen at the time. That's how they're understanding about how long she was there, when she was dead, where she was killed, etc., etc. Exactly. And that's why these are the heaviest charges I've ever seen in California like this. I mean, I had no idea the circumstance that we were under in this case. I just didn't. All right. So gallbladder, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to female reproductive. We've got, everything, but I don't want to do that myself. Here we go. There's the forensic science laboratory, and it's inconclusive on some of them. So when we do listen to Joseph Scott Morgan or Nancy Grace say, oh my God, she had benzos and fentanyl and meth. We don't exactly know for sure, because when we look at the liver, they look for ethanol or alcohol. It does say present, but we don't know how much, right? And then in the liver, we look for benzoids, cocaine, fentanyl, meth, opioids, codeine, morphine, hydrocodone, penicillin. I don't know what that one is, but it says ND, not detective. PP, and then PP, not. I think that's like not. So that's present. PP, I guess, is present, and D is not detected. So that it's kind of weird because you see meth and it's present there. So I guess Nancy Grace did read that right. Other people that are looking at it are saying methamphetamine was there, but it was inconclusive. But I'm looking at her liver, and it says methamphetamine, MDMA, was present in her liver. They did the drug screen confirmation, and when you go back to it, benzoids, basic drugs, it looks like nothing. But then this one says inconclusive. So when you go to the liver, the designer opioids, they call it, say inconclusive. And then you go back into amphetamine, and it says ND. Methamphetamine then says inconclusive. So although it says up here that her drug screen for her liver had methamphetamine present and benzoids, all right, Down here in the drug screen confirmation to double, triple make sure they don't. It's inconclusive, which could mean it wasn't a large enough amount to hold, whatever. She's been there for some time. All right. And then everything else that they start going into, specimen of, everything that they have to look at. Again, this is not for me to read, but I will go over it. So those are the major 1 of 2 pages, major defects, 3/4 of an inch. Let me open this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. Thank you for being a member for 13 months. Oh, a lot of people said she was high all the time, guys. The people said that, like, a lot of witnesses and even people that allegedly hung out with Neo say they kept her doped up, whether it was weed, whether it was alcohol, whatever it is that they were doing, cocaine, I'm sure. All right. They kept her doped up. You're very welcome. Roots Trackers. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. She did not deserve that. And there's other girls out there that are currently witnesses of this. Anyway, so you guys see the 3/4 inch defect we talked about. She was stabbed there. That punctured her. That would be her liver, right? And then there's the liver and the what did I say? They don't even call out. They just say defect, lungs and liver. Okay. See, that's why I don't want to do this by myself. And then you look here and it's like, oh my God, partially skeletonized. Her globe was not present, which means an eye. This one had extensive postmortem changes. This one, top shoulder. I mean, these are all cuts, defect of the skin. Those were not necessarily present for her dying. This is after death. All right. Him cutting and sawing and chopping. And I mean, her 2 fingers were absent. Her eyeball and her 2 fingers were absent. This one, it says, shh, that's the finger that she had the same tattoo, shh, that David had on him. Top of the leg, bottom of the leg. They said they're missing parts. Okay. There's absent parts. So when we get to Joseph Scott Morgan, we'll see it a little better. All right. I mean, this is just, you see the damage that he did to her. Allegedly, right? So they did all the stuff, cross the T's, dot their I's. I don't think this has the redaction, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I do have all the documents, all right? And we should definitely put that up there on Ghost. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to breaking down this autopsy, my friends. We're going to start with this.
Lists her official cause of death as multiple penetrating injuries, a 14-year-old girl. The manner of death ruled a homicide. The report identifies 2 significant wounds, one to the chest, one to the abdomen, with the wound to the abdomen piercing the liver. But the medical examiner notes that those wounds may represent sharp force injuries. May, not definitive. That kind of uncertainty, we know that could be a battleground in court, battle of the experts. I also want to emphasize that the medical examiner identifies these as injuries that caused her death, so that's separate from what prosecutors allege happened after, including dismemberment. There is a lot of disturbing detail in that report about that too. Toxicology. Toxicology also raises questions because the report says that the initial screenings showed, quote, presumptive positives for benzodiazepines, methamphetamines, MDMA, but then you had follow-up testing that was inconclusive or negative for some of those substances.
Oh my
Bottom line
goodness.
is, what does this report really tell us? What questions does it still leave open? I got a chance to speak to Joseph Scott Morgan, forensic death investigator, certified forensic expert from Jacksonville State University.
We already know, buddy. I just want you guys to get the different perspectives because each one has a different take.
Yep. Let me just say this. When I heard that the report was coming out, one of the things I was thinking that we were going to see was probably a frenzied attack. And you and I have covered enough cases to know that frenzied means you got multiple stab wounds. Jesse, what we're looking at here
It's not.
are 2.
Yep.
2 stab wounds that they have made note of in this autopsy report. It's important to understand that one of these, there's two injuries that we're talking about here. We've got one in the right abdomen, and it goes directly into the liver, which in and of itself can in fact be fatal. All right. The liver is one of the most vascular organs in the body. So if you don't attend to this, to an injury directly to the liver, you're going to bleed out, and you're going to bleed out probably internally. All right. The other injury is kind of interesting. It is to the left chest. So here, left chest, and it is penetrating what they're saying, the underlying intercostal space, which is actually, if you think about the muscles in between your ribs, that's the intercostal muscles. That's what they're talking about. So it's not necessarily passing through the bone of the rib itself, but what they're saying is there is disruption of the adjacent rib. So
right, so they're gonna pull out one of those rib guys. Yeah, his body, but he's not on body bags right now. He's all over everything right now. But thank you. Yes, body bags. He's on Anti-Grace. He's on News Nation. He's everywhere. Everyone's using Joseph Scott Morgan right now. It's crazy. And I really, like, I'm just a big nerd like that. I'm learning a bunch of stuff. Like, I know it's hard and it's triggering and it's disgusting, but guys, we're learning this as well. So the next case, we recognize other things. I saw a tattoo of the word David handwritten on her inner ring finger in a YouTube video. I think her kept her wedding ring finger. Interesting. It's hard to figure out who was obsessed with who now, though. I'm a little confused by that, but let's continue.
As this wound tracks through that intercostal space, it's actually damaging the associated ribs.
Prosecutors say that a sharp instrument was used, yet the report says they may represent sharp force injuries. Do you see room here that the injuries that have been detected may be caused by something else?
Well, yeah, I suppose it could. And I don't think that just because it says sharp force, I don't think that we should in totality flee to knife in our mind. Okay. It could be something else. However, my number one candidate would be knife. And we have to think about how exactly does this examination externally pair up with what they're seeing externally on the body, and how does it compare to a knife wound?
And by the way, there's no murder weapon. So
now, right, when we looked at the weapon yesterday, they don't necessarily have that knife. All right, they don't have the knife that we don't know if they do. The knife that I showed you, that was an OTF that I was all excited about too. That size is roughly 3/4 of an inch. It gets wider at the top and then skinnier at the bottom. It absolutely could have been that OTF knife, just 2 puncture wounds. She's bleeding out, and now he's just having a ball with her body. And when I say that, I say it in a way that he really did enjoy himself. He really basked in the darkness of things. I got, I don't know who sent that to me today. I don't remember where I got it from, but I mean, he basked in this. Look at that. That was his withered tour. He was so excited, and it says "for you," and he's got all the bloody shirts. Remember, almost all of his songs talk about killing someone or death and blood. He basked in that. He thinks he's real cute, right? Look at him. You sure do have a pretty mouth there, sir. You're gonna have some pretty DSL lips there for the men in prison. Look at him. He thinks he's so damn cute doing that. And all the while, what he did to Celeste, you sure do have a party mouth. That's a perfect saying for that guy. Ugh, he's disgusting. All right, let's continue.
I imagine there would have to be a further analysis with a forensic anthropologist, possibly.
Yeah, or particularly when you're talking about the ribs, here's one we don't talk about a lot: toolmark expert. And that happens in the morgue a lot. Yep. And let me give you, for instance, like if that rib, which I would imagine it had been, I hope it was, that rib or those ribs that were affected by this injury, they should have been saved. Okay, because those bony structures, they're not going to decompose. There is some compromise structurally, but they're not in the same state as the soft tissue. You can actually clean those elements. And so if you can find a weapon at some point in time, a toolmark expert, and they do this a lot, will actually be able to microscopically look at those ribs. You know, they're talking about them being insulted already, that they've been damaged. If you can find an edged weapon and you can actually compare it, they can say, you know how experts will talk on the stand, will say, well, within reasonable scientific certainty, they can match that up.
Well, when they start getting the filament and they get these little blue pieces of filament, and then they look at all of David's electronics and they find, because now all the 3D printers, I mean, they got smart, right? This whole world is smart now. Everything's a subscription. Okay, you can't just buy Illustrator and Photoshop. You got to pay a monthly fee for the software now. You can't just say, here's $500, I want it. You can't just buy a 3D printer for $4,000 and say, I want that and I want it to be stealth. No, my friends. Now, the 3D printers all come with their own software. So you have to load that software in order to be able to use it. And you have to pay for this subscription, and you have to let them track you. Everything is tracked. So go buy a 3D printer, install their software, and print yourself a weapon. They'll be able to find that when they dig through the forensic evidence, digital or what have you. So even if he did melt it, they're going to still find that part file. They're going to find that website where he got it. They're going to find it. That's why there's so much evidence. Medical examiner said if anything comes out in the screen, that they'll go and do the actual test on the sample. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know at this point how much that really matters, but I mean, you know.
Presumptive positive for methamphetamine and MDMA, but then there was another screening that said it was, I think meth was inconclusive and MDMA was not detected.
Yeah.
What should we be making of that? How is that relevant?
I think that it's being affected by the decomposition. And
okay. So more, that's what I wanted to hear from him is why, how is it, how did it come out in one and then not in the other? So it probably more than likely she did have methamphetamine and she had uppers and downers in her system. Put it that way. All right. Let's continue.
This is going to require further analysis. I can tell you who they're going to put this question to. It's going to be a forensic toxicologist.
A lot of this report is about the dismemberment. I don't want to get into the details, but I want to ask you overview here. Does this indicate the way they describe it that this was sloppily done, that there was an element of sophistication? Does it tell you something about the strategy, about the method there? It may be difficult, but you tell me based on the injuries they document regarding dismemberment, what that tells you about whoever did this.
Highly disorganized. And I wouldn't use the term frenzied. I'd say disorganized, disordered, because traditionally, you know, when we think about a dismemberment by somebody that's skilled with a blade, butchers, surgeons, even nurses, surgical techs, those sorts of things, we know those weak spots. Autopsy people, you know, we know those weak spots from a structural standpoint.
And they don't. That's why when somebody does something like that, I was listening earlier, when someone dismembers, they say most people obviously don't have they don't have experience in it, right? It's like Jeffrey Dahmer. If you guys know the Jeffrey Dahmer case, you know the first time that he ever killed somebody, he had to dismember him and he made himself sick. He was throwing up and disgusted, but then he got used to it and he figured out where the soft points are to cut. Most people would think the soft part to cut would be at a, you know, where your bone, where you have like your knee or your joint, but that's not the case. And I think he was just assuming that this is the way, and he had to just end up ripping her apart. Also, when you look at a hacksaw, especially one that's 3D printed with those little ridges, guys, you're going to start cutting and it's going to be fine for a little bit, but then you're going to get to another spot and you're going to lose the dullness. You're going to lose it. It's going to dull out and you're going to end up being ripping her apart. Yes. All right, let's continue.
We're not going to go, say, for instance, as they did in this case, to mid shaft of a bone. You're really creating extra work for yourself. And that gives you an idea that this is not very well thought out. And so, yeah, this is highly disordered. It looks like something that someone probably kind of started, stopped, and restarted, perhaps.
And that is why Joseph Scott Morgan is the best. I want to thank him again for coming on. I know it's a difficult subject matter, but important.
All right, let's drop this off. And then before we get into more legal jargon, let's do this. Let me remove this guy down here. We do need justice for Celeste. And I want you to realize as we continue in today's episode, pay attention when the pictures are up. If you're not doing something, right? If you're just chilling and watching your phone and we start showing pictures, just pay attention. Some of those girls that they show pictured as Celeste are not Celeste. They're Asia. And then there's another one I found where it wasn't Asia or Celeste, and it was a lookalike, another lookalike that was over age. Yeah, like Dexter. Exactly. No, it does make sense, Bren. I just talked to my boss that's been doing this I've been there for 18, 19 years, and he's been an engineer. He's 60-something years old. We talked specifically about the printed saw, and he said, absolutely, you could print a saw, and you can change the size of the teething. And we even did the test. I took the thing, and I was like, what about if you're doing this? We ran through different aspects of it, and it absolutely makes sense. I assure you. So anyway, take that with what you will. I that's what I do every day. I know that. And I specifically said, before I even said anything to you guys, I was like, hey, I'm doing an episode today and I want to know if this 3D printed thing is this He's like, hell yeah, why do you even ask? And then he explained, right? Okay, so that's what I want you to know. That's a huge possibility, especially when we start talking about the material that he printed that went off into it. That's called filament. And filament doesn't always clean itself off. So let me say I print one of these out, just the shape of it. When I pull it out, it's got a bunch of supporting filament on it. So I have to take the supports off of it to make it like this, right? Because it's not sturdy. So this part's sturdy, but this part's not. So this part I have to clean off all the filament. Well, you're not going to sit there and clean off all the filament and all of it. So you leave the blue filament on the saw, which is what he probably used, and it got into the wounds. I'm almost positive that happened. Did you hear that somebody approved? I did. I heard that the body bags were $70-something a piece, and they swabbed all of them. They were actual body bags, like $70-something approved of being disposed of. Wait, Jay, did you hear that someone approved of the body bag? No, I didn't hear that, but I heard that they were swabbing it all, and they took all the swabs. I hope they didn't do that. David should have been a morgue technician, not a demon singer, right? I didn't know. People call it bracing. Very interesting. All right, let me show you something else. This is kind of crazy. I just don't want to forget because I have so many things. So this is another thing from the family. She said, I knew. This lady, Julia from X, says, I knew and went to the police about it. They brushed it off because no evidence. And she's reposting this from Kindness and Knowledge. It says, Celeste Rivas Hernandez brother speaks up and shows proof that David killed his sister. All right, I'm just going to put this on for a minute, and then we're going to hop back into a lot of pictures of Celeste, and just trigger warning is all I got to say. All right, is there not volume on here? I think maybe there's not volume, and it's just going to show you. All right, let's just run through it because I don't see any volume on there. They're basically showing the account. So we've got It's Matthew and the other account and David and Celeste. Dude, why does David follow you? All respect to your sister, and I hate how shitty people are being. Was it really him? Jesus, all love, man. Yes, it was him. So this is Celeste's brother. Yes, it was him because he found my account out of nowhere and followed me. Fuck. Well, he has it coming. That's wild, just randomly. Do you ever talk to him? I met him once in person. Did you and your family know of your sister being with him? Like, she was living with him. All this shit is so confusing and disgusting. And her brother says, I knew and went to the police about it, but lack of evidence, so I was waived off. Bullshit. Now that there's 1,000 people backing you up, that won't happen again. But if they had listened, even when they don't do anything, they haven't even done anything towards him. This is how celebrities look, like Diddy, just like Diddy. They don't do shit. I know it effing sucks. Effing crazy people suffer for it. How long has she been gone? Dead, he says? 2 weeks? All right. I don't have this is her brother's text messages, but there's no dates. So you can imagine. Damn, that soon? People have been saying like a month. That dude's a weirdo. His songs all have weird messages and imagery. What do you think happened? Like, I just don't want to expose him being with her. I don't know. Her brother says, damn, was your sister like in love with him and choosing to stay? I'm guessing it was all him manipulating her. Yeah, she was always saying that he was waiting until she was 18 to get married and stuff like that. Fucking sick. What's crazy is all those people in his circle who knew and didn't say shit. I saw one guy he got sued by him. I'm sure you would have too if you kept pushing. And I just want to make sure you guys are all still there. I'm saying hello to everybody. All right, let's continue. I just don't want it to be all too, I don't want it to be too heavy today, trying to just break things up. All right, so listen, this pedophile was grooming this little girl from 11 to 12 is when it started. And brother, this is her. She'd been missing for 2 weeks about at this point. And the other guy's asking him, did you think she's dead? Okay. Dog, I never knew that. My sister wouldn't say anything ever. Dude, there's so much shit in that Discord that he has. What the F? There's a Discord? Yeah, it was just his fan Discord and stuff. It wasn't in, obviously, but from what I know, he was decently active in it. And some screenshots and screen recordings were posted today and yesterday after this news. Showed one guy saying, the one with the missing girl, Celeste Rivas, 95% sure it's legit. Someone who was in the server before, it was lock screen recorded them looking up the messages, and it wasn't edited or anything. All right. What the no way, dude. Please send me more. Please send me more if you know, dude. I got you, bro. Let me find everything that's been posted. That's why I said so many people were after David now. They have found so much evidence to back this shit up. Dude, I never knew shit. Only a small number of people were aware until today. I wish I had known. I could have used this. You didn't have your sister added on Discord, right? I don't even have Discord. Yeah, I was just seeing because someone took an SS of her, a screenshot of her account, supposedly. All right, so we see Celeste screenshotted here. I can't really see much of what it says, but this is what I got, and he sent it over. I'm assuming we'll see a little more, but he got screenshots before it was deleted. Look at that's David and Celeste pictures, her trying to hide her face, and it says here, are those photos of her? And that song that was unreleased David song apparently. Here's the video just proving those messages are real. So I guess he sent a video there. Are those photos her? Yes, the brother says those are her. Do you know of any of your sister's Instagram accounts? There were some messages people said were her messaging friends. Hold on. Real quick. This is important. So they took screenshots of these saying it was from her messaging friends from the phone, right? And then he sent pictures of her to make sure. That's my sister, dog. Okay. Remember, those are all over freaking David stuff in the Discords, etc. Is that real, you think? Yeah, I do. I know who this is. He's dead. I know who Gus is. He's dead. What happened? He got shot up dead. You think by David or some other shit? He said other stuff. All right. Okay. We're almost done. All right. That's it. We're not going to watch it again, but we are going to get into... Let's get into this because I really want to go over this. And I love the fact that what she did with the pictures, almost the entire episode has baby pictures. The whole thing is just dedicated to Celeste. And I didn't have all those photos. We have some, but a lot of them are grainy, things you can't see. Okay. All right. So is everybody with me still? Hello. How you doing? Are we still on here together? We've been here an hour and a half. I hope you guys are still here. All right. We're going to do some of this because it's important that we do. And, Aunt Nancy is especially,
Celeste Rivas, just 13 years old tonight. Autopsy bombshell. We learn this little girl partially skeletonized. Her left eye gone. Traces of not only meth, but MDMA in her system. What was done to this little girl before she was killed with a, quote, sharp object? This, as David Anthony Burke, a.k.a. D4vd, the famous musician, whines behind bars. Really? Yes, really. Good evening. I'm Auntie Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to
thank you. She has the best guest on. And
get a look at even more evidence as early as May 1st. Other than the CP found on Burke's phone, prosecutors also revealed a wiretap was used in the investigation.
Yes.
No real specifics about the wiretap other than to say it took place last year. Burke was shackled as he came into court wearing county-issued orange jail jumpsuit. The 21-year-old defendant appeared calm and at times tried to look bored, only speaking.
You see what's happening here, and you see the images. Most of the images are grainy that they put in. They're very like cryptic. She's hiding her face. There's other times where you're like, wait a minute, who the frick is that? Is that her or is that her? Like, he's playing mind games, guys. In my opinion, he's a sick guy. He's a sick fuck, and he was doing that purposely to so we have to go back and say, wait, that wasn't her. But these inner circle people, those people are the people that are going to be testifying against him on trial. I know. The whole thing is just, Sadie's mama, I'm glad you're here. Yes, the body bags are made to hold fluids. And with that, guys, I want you to realize that the investigators did swab the handles and the zipper of both body bags for DNA. And a detail Morgan also finds highly unusual. Additionally, the small blue, guys, he calls it bits of plastic found embedded in the dismemberment sites, which are currently being analyzed as potential trace evidence. Now, they're going to probably come back and it's going to be a filament. I know it looks like plastic. There's also a discrepancy between the reported time that she died and the reported time of dismemberment, guys. It says she died on April 23rd of 2025, but he didn't dismember her until May 5th. So what would happen? What would he have done with the body in between them? And in that time, the forensic entomology is going to be crucial to narrow down her date of death and how long she was actually there. Was she put somewhere frozen? Was she not? They're going to figure out a lot more, because during that 2-week window, there's a fly life cycle, and there are maggots and things, and generational development will give them an idea of how long. So yes, they have trace evidence for the body bags. The fluids were in there. They swabbed. They said there was like 6 handles. Cause of death, we already talked about that. Left integral space, fatal wound. All right, let's continue. Hold on. Real quick. I gotta, another Jeffrey Dahmer. Let's remove that. Put that back. And go.
Up a status hearing scheduled for April 29th and
Yes,
a May
April
1st court
29th.
date.
Straight out to special guest joining us, Caitlin Becker, senior national correspondent, New York Post, host of podcast NY Postcast. Caitlin, Bombshell autopsy report. And I'm wondering, now that I've seen the autopsy report, why the LAPD insisted it stay under seal for so long. Maybe because it's so incendiary. Remember at the get-go, Caitlin, a lot of news outlets were saying they can't determine COD. We have sources inside the medical examiner's office. They can't tell COD because she's decomposed, 1, and 2, dismembered. BS, technical legal term. They've had the COD for months.
Listen, guys, and they had the cause of death for months, is what she's saying. I don't listen. When you look at David and you watch him in court, he does look bored. He looks bored AF. He looks like he'd rather be anywhere else but there. But what that equates to me is a lot of different things. You know, his narcissism, there's a chain of things. I don't think that he even thought about all of that evidence. He thought he has money. Everybody was kissing his ass, right? He's walking around, everyone's wiping his ass, so he's throwing the money at him, and he's leaving digital footprints everywhere. Just thinking, hey, when Celeste Rivas said, we mean like raping girls? And he said, and you got all these people saying, put him on the Epstein list. He thinks you could just delete that and no one was going to see it. But instead, of course, people are screenshotting it and it got out. This guy left a trail everywhere. When you're talking 40 terabytes, guys, yes, that is the correct thing to say. His goose is cooked. That's a nice way to say it.
Now, and that is death by a sharp object. So, what can you tell us? Do we know why the LAPD wanted it kept secret for so long?
He was famous.
We don't know why they wanted to keep it secret for so long. This was determined back in December at the end of 2020.
I know why, and they already said, so we don't need to listen to this. I really just want to get into a lot of the pictures, and Joseph Scott Morgan going back to, I do want to show this clip though. Are they putting this clip on? Hold on. We already went over that part. Tonight, we're learning about, okay, Discord and Reddit chats. That's important. I just don't want to talk about the same stuff over and over. All right. I agree, guilty of crime. He's been seeing other money bag criminals. Yes. Get a slap. He feels like he's in the category. I mean, look, he's with Diddy. That was like, dude, they made a spectacle of that trial. They made a spectacle, the FBI did, of seizing his properties for 4.5 years. That they should have just left him out. I don't even know what he's going to get right back out and do it. It makes no sense, man.
Nauseous reading an autopsy report. I don't even feel nauseous when I go to an autopsy. When I read this,
it's bad.
I felt nauseous. I got hot all over because I think of Celeste as that little girl, 13 years old, and Bombshell tonight. We are learning that D4vd, aka David Anthony Burke, met Celeste allegedly when she was 12.
And she's going to say 11 or 12. Most people say 11, about to be 12. Now, I'm going to make sure your membership gifting is on, guys, because we always gift memberships. And I'm going to gift some right now while we're going through this, because this is the part where I can interact with you a little more when I'm not reading and presenting, 500 different things. Squirrel! Thank you guys for being here. Very happy Friday to you. All right, let's get justice for Celeste Rivas and the other children that he has already attacked and the ones that were probably on his radar. All right.
He's a grown
Possibly
man.
as early as 11.
What is he doing with a 12-year-old girl,
11.
Caitlin Becker?
11.
Nothing good and nothing legal, Nancy. So the New York Post compiled a bunch of Discord, Reddit, chat room clips and screenshots going back to 2023 and then back to potentially 2021, where she was maybe 11, 12 at the oldest, where they were apparently together. These disturbing messages with people on Reddit and Discord saying that he had a girlfriend. Her name was Celeste. It was something with a C. She was in middle school. So this seemed to be no surprise to some of the fans who were operating in some of these chat rooms and circles. One of them looked like it was even a conversation between the two of them in a chat room, where it's October 2023, where someone that appears to be David says, "Is Celeste here?" And a screen name that appears to be Celeste says, David Burke or Burke, but she wrote BARKKKKK to just be kind of cutesy as a 12-year-old would be online. But even going back further, Nancy, her missing persons flyer indicated that she was in Hello Kitty sandals, which just that image in and of itself is troubling. It gives you.
Now, when we start looking back at little baby Celeste Rivas, she also was always in Hello Kitty shirts and things like that. So I'm like, oh my God, this and then David cleaning the shoes. There's just so many there's so much digital evidence that he just left laid out there. All right. Membership gods. I'll just randomly try to give some. So yes, drop a comment, hit that like button. It does. Devilment, it does. You're absolutely right. All right, let's continue.
An idea of just how young she is. But there was a post that David had posted of a photo that included some Hello Kitty Crocs that you could see at the bottom, and then a caption where he made some disturbing reference to the Hello Kitty girl.
Now look at that. He's looking for Celeste in here. This is what I was talking about earlier, and this dates back to 2022. Celeste in here, and this is his official account, David. He's asking for Celeste.
That got him in 2021. So now we're talking about grade school aged. It is so troubling and grotesque in so many ways to know that information that we uncovered, and then you put it with the way she was found by investigators. It really does make you sick to your stomach.
Put up Dubé. Philip Dubé joining us, veteran criminal defense attorney, joining us out of this jurisdiction, LA. The Hello Kitty girl, 12 years old, when D4vd puts the moves on her, she's missing an eyeball and she's skeletonized. Thoughts? Why shouldn't this be a death penalty case?
Now, here's the thing. I think that they're using this as an opportunity to threaten with the death penalty, knowing that he doesn't want to lose. Maybe if they threaten with the death penalty, he'll take a deal. But guys, I gotta tell you, there's not much of a deal. There's no deal. He's so egotistical and narcissistic, and he still has money to pay these attorneys. Guys, he honestly, the best that they're gonna do. You think they're really gonna give him anything better than life without the possibility of parole? Because if they give him 25 years to life, he will be out by the time he's 40. Okay. I think the best they could do is that either he's facing the death penalty or life without the possibility of parole. And he's way too effing cocky to take LWOP and take a chance on it. Just saying. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's so nice to hear that. All right, let's continue. I know Nancy's ticked. I'm ticked too. All of us have children that, I know. That's a whole nother case, though. They're going to have another case for the CSAM alone. That is not what they're looking for. And they already had another investigation about that. That he wouldn't have been on trial for murder had he not killed a witness. All right.
This is not a capital case. It might be on paper, but this young man has absolutely no criminal record. I do not see a jury ever executing him. I think best case scenario is that this could result in a plea bargain. But even then, I think it's highly doubtful because his max is life without parole. What on earth would be the incentive for him to take a deal that would involve life behind bars anyway? So I actually think that this may be overfiled.
Put him up. Philip Dubé, I like you. But I got to ask you a question. When you do all that manscaping right there, do you ever actually look at yourself in the mirror? How can you say that? The girl was 12. Celeste Rivas was 12 when D4vd, the big musician,
she even got out the Rivas, Celeste Rivas. She said she did that tongue roll, and she's right. That if you're not gonna put the death penalty for what he did, what would you do? I love that she said that. All right, let's get back to talking about Celeste Rivas. I love that. I didn't know she could roll it like that. I learned something new today.
It moves on her, and now she's dead in his trunk. Her body in pieces. Her left eyeball is gone. Wonder what happened to that. Joe Scott Morgan is going to tell you that when you decompose, your eyeball doesn't just disappear. Where is her eyeball? Why did she have MDMA in her system? Meth in her system? Why?
And I want to welcome Donna Suzanne to the Crime Crew official member. Thank you. You guys we gotta do a members only where no one else can see, like a top secret something. I'll have the girls help me think about what we do, but man, I love that Nancy doesn't hold back, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. It's her show. She can get away with that. I would never do that to a guest, but she can do that.
Why is this not a death penalty case? If this is not a death penalty case, what is?
There has to be some evidence, that he's the one who actually did it. Merely having a corpse is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he is in fact the actual killer. At most, what you have is him having constructive possession of her because her remains were found in the car. Now, having said that, the jury is going to have to find, assuming it even goes to a penalty phase, that he's irreformable, irredeemable, and that the only just outcome for him would be California's lethal injection. I predict that no jury will ever execute this young man.
If you have been...
I don't know what he's thinking, but I do think that politically, now I live in California, guys, all right, and Gavin Newsom's probably going to be out of the office real soon. He got some stuff that happened. Mayor Matt Mahan from San Jose is trying to be elected as a governor, and we personally know him. My boss is helping him to get elected. He's in the commercials with Matt Mahan. So if we get Matt Mahan into the office and we get Gavin Newsom out, I think Matt Mahan would go hard politically on David. I really do. Matt Mahan's a really nice guy. He speaks soft, but he is hard on things. He helps the homeless people really well. He does a good job. I think you guys will like Matt Mahan if he's the one that gets elected and Gavin Newsom's out. But they will use this case as a political one if the trial goes to, depending on when the trial goes. I just don't know when if it's going to be in 60 days or they're going to need to, just keep pushing it out. I have no idea.
He looks at suicide, he looks at undetermined, and of course, homicide. And he knows the difference. Usually one glance and he can tell you. Could you walk us through and try to skip the medical examiner vernacular? Like you're talking to a jury, please, so we can all understand. See, I understand what it means when I read in the autopsy, her left eyeball is gone. How did that happen? That did not happen naturally. I know what it means that MDMA is in her system. Methamphetamine is in this little girl's system. I know what it means that her head is in an actual body bag with handles on it. That's not a trash bag. And that under the body bag, which they had to go get, or is it one of his props for one of his creepy songs about death? Oh my goodness. That means it's going to be covered with his fingerprints, right? That said, underneath the body bag, an actual body bag, is a trash bag with her dismembered body in it. You've got her head in one bag and the rest of her body cut in pieces.
Now, here's another thing, guys. Like I said, this is just this guy left a digital footprint everywhere. Okay, you cannot just be a regular person that goes and buys these body bags and it's not traceable. Just like that incinerator. I doubt they used it ever, but he thought about it. They're going to know exactly where he pled not guilty. Now, he can plead guilty, but he's not going to. He's way too narcissistic and way too just cocky. There's no way he was going to plead guilty. He already pled not guilty. The attorney is just another monster. Defense attorneys can be as bad. Yeah, but listen, the one you worked with that one right there, I heard that they got real scared. The defense attorneys voices were shaking when they found out about all the CSAM in David's phone. So think about that. He's going to say they can be reformed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it just depends. If they can use it politically, they will.
And another bag. No wonder the LAPD wanted to keep a lid on it. It's incendiary, it's inflammatory, it's upsetting, and it may have altered the course of this investigation because it is so upsetting.
Thank you.
It is very upsetting. And Nancy, I got to say something real quick. In all of my years, I never thought that I would read an autopsy report where I'm hearing or reading the fact that a body bag is being swabbed for DNA. Nancy, do you know they swabbed each one of those handles? A body bag, this particular body bag has 6 handles. Each one of those handles was swabbed. The zipper has been swabbed. So you've got a body bag, and this body bag just.
And guys, I was watching, I've watched everything since yesterday on this, and they're speculating that there might be one more person involved in this case. They're not saying who that could have charges, but Latchkey Kid Asia is already being looked at. Asia is a state witness, and so is Neo. Remember, Neo moved. Yes, both of them. That's why they arrested Neo or detained Neo, is because he wasn't trying to testify. What law enforcement can do is do the same thing with Asia, but they didn't have to because she talked to him. They give you immunity. It doesn't matter if Neo says, okay, I did see the bag there. He asked me to move it. I didn't know what it was, or I did. We're giving you immunity. You're testifying against him, and we're going to go for the harshest sentence. They're already part of an investigation. David was not being looked at for murder. He was being looked at for being a pedo. I think that's lost in translation somewhere, that he was already being investigated. And I'm sure that they had talked to Celeste Rivas at one point, along with her family, making a statement when they filed missing person cases. All right. So I think it got lost in translation. They were already looking at him, guys. Now we're going to have a separate case, and they just found a shit ton of CSAM. Now what? All right. I was going to ask, do you think he had help? Yeah, I do, but I don't think they're going to directly prosecute anyone else. I think if they can make him state witness, they'll be happy with that. But we'll see.
Description is just like the ones that we use at the coroner's office, the medical examiner's office. Right, I don't know about you. I've been at this for a long time. I don't have any body bags at my house. So again, he had to acquire this somehow. And, you can draw from that what you want, but let's get to Celeste, this child. First off, you'd mentioned the skull. The skull is partially skeletonized at this point. Now, in decomposition, and she's been down for a very long time, we will see the eyes collapse within the sockets. That
Guys, she's so stinking cute. Now, it's really not, it really isn't that odd. Yeah, I'm sure. It really isn't that odd for an eyeball to collapse or liquefy over time. That's kind of what happens. All right, Amazon or eBay, but it's all digital footprints, though. What's up, Skylar? Good to see you. Beth Silverman was smirking when the defense was talking in court. Beth's a beast. She knows she has this in the bag, and she's ready to battle. And that's what I hear as well. That's what I'm hearing. But this little angel needs justice. This little girl didn't stand a chance. Did not stand a chance once David started grooming her along with his entourage and that money, all right, and whatever relationship that she didn't have. I hear that her mother was abusive from the time she was young. So I think she was running away from home, but David was absolutely encouraging it. All right, yeah, we don't have body bags hanging around our house either. I've never even seen one, and nor do I want to.
It does happen. However, there is considerable insect activity, and I know that this is really horrible, but people need to understand the depth of depravity here. There's insect activity. So you have insects that have been, let's just say, feasting on the remains, okay, all of this time. And this has been contained in this frunk, in the frunk of this car. And I don't know where else it may have been contained at some point in time, maybe within that house. Insects are going to play a big part in this case. But Nancy, here's really kind of the dark thing, if it can get any darker. What they're identifying as fatal injuries on her, we've got the one that is on the left side in her rib cage, and it's actually the intercostal space. And what that means is there's a muscle that runs in between the ribs, okay? That doesn't really go anywhere. She could have bled out from that. It's hard to tell. There is hemorrhage in there. It doesn't affect the lung. But what I want to focus on is the one on the right. If folks at home will essentially go down your chest till you find the base of your rib cage on the right side. This is right at the top of your abdomen. And when the rib cage comes to an end, bingo, you're on your liver. Nancy, a knife, a sharp instrument was inserted to a depth of about 1.5 inches, according to the autopsy report. It goes into that liver. The liver is the most, other than the brain, is the most vascular.
This is a lot clearer. So in the death of Celeste, it wasn't as messy and lacking knowledge of where you would stab somebody. As a matter of fact, he stabbed her in the two places that would kill someone almost instantly. Yes, rest in peace, Celeste. All right. Thank you guys for being here. If you do me a favor, we still have 283 people in chat. If you would hit that like button, that would be awesome. Share with your friends and community. We're not done here yet, guys. We are not done. We still got more to go. I didn't even get to share with you some of the items that were collected. I'm sure you guys are interested in the evidence collection, right? Right, because I am. Now, listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing about all this that happened. There's going to be multiple scenes, crime scenes, I should say. They believe that when Celeste got to David's house, he was lying in wait for her, and he took her life. And then, so that when he took her life and got the lung and the liver, there's a lot of bleeding out. That's one spot. Then whatever he does with their body for 2 weeks, he does with their body for 2 weeks, and then he dismembers her either in that house or somewhere else. All right. So there's multiple places where they're going to be looking. He also had what he called a little cottage, and he would take her to that little cottage rather than the $20,000 a month mansion. So he's got crime scenes galore. We got the Tesla. We got the $20,000 mansion. We've got the cottage. They're talking about a Santa Barbara trip. All right. Celeste wasn't raised by Mercedes. Celeste, Matthew, and Jennifer were raised by Mercedes' sister. Oh, thank you, Latchkey Kid. I appreciate that. I didn't know her mom's name. I just heard she was very abusive. All right. Jay, I also heard there's another victim. There is. I went over that today. There's 3 victims already. There's Celeste was one. There's a second one. And I showed you guys the third one not only just today, Robin, but I showed it. If you go to my last episode of David and Celeste, I read you the original post, but she went on to delete it because people were talking shit to her. So this is the follow-up of the email. There's 3 victims at least that were working with law enforcement. Are there more going to come forward? Probably. All right. So yes, definitely. If you guys just came in here, you should go back and watch. They say that there was pieces in the Tesla tube that she could only fit so much. So like, what's her name? Jen Coffendorfer tried to get into the trunk or the frunk of a car and she couldn't even fit. She's not that tall, not that big, couldn't fit. Now, when you explain what happened with Celeste in that front trunk and pieces missing, that's probably because it just didn't fit there. But what did he do with the rest of her body? What did he do with her fingers? What did he do with parts? I mean, I don't know, man. Did he seems like one of those guys that would like eat it or something, like eat her heart and think that he's going to live forever if he eats her heart. You know, he's one of those weird mofos. Kira's in the house. My sister called. What did I miss? Not a lot, I hope. I don't know. Let's get back into it, though.
Organ in the body. And here's the dark part. Nancy, this was not a quick death. She bled out. We're not talking about somebody that was shot in the head. We're not talking about somebody that, had died in a road accident or something like that. No, she stabbed in the liver. She would have bled out into her abdomen. I've handled multiple cases involving the liver. If you don't have a team of surgeons standing there, there's nothing you can do for them. And she would have had an awareness, Nancy. She would have had an awareness that her life was merely just kind of seeping away with every drop of blood that coursed out of that. Now, a question is, where is the blood? Is there blood in the house? Is there blood in the car? Hard to tell because...
And you know what is odd about this? Yeah, there is Tesla cameras, and they do know who parked that car, by the way. They're just not telling us. The odd thing is that she was a witness against him with the state. I wonder why they didn't have her protected. Like, why she... I mean, I know as a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old, you break up to make up, right? But I mean, was she so bold to tell him, I'm going to tell on you if you freaking break up with me? And then he did that? That's what they're saying. Hi. Welcome, Knox, to the crime crew. Knox 1111. First live, been following Celeste's case since it broke in September. Well, thank you for being here. Please do hit that like and subscribe. And we gift memberships very often. So if you do that, you'll get a better chance. Make sure your membership gift is turned on as well. All right. Yeah, but there's several houses. Let's continue so we can talk about that.
We don't know what they were able to go back to the scene to capture. But I know that in the immediate, if you could have examined her body like within a couple of days, you would have seen an abdomen that was filled with blood. And I really want people to understand that here. She had blood coursing into her abdomen. It would have been in her bowels, over the top of her bowels, and her eyes would have slowly closed. And there would have been nobody there to comfort her or love her in any way. She was brutally murdered, and then her corpse was brutally abused. You're damn right this is inflammatory, and there's going to be more that's going to come out. And it doesn't bode well for whoever is involved in this.
Can I talk to you about, so many things, Joe Scott. Mm-hmm. But first, when there's an eyeball missing, I know the eyeballs do collapse upon death, after time passes. But there should have been some residue still in the eye.
Well, they do know. And here's the thing, guys. Here's what I'm thinking. They want a tight case. They want as tight of a case as they can have. All right. Flo Joe, thank you so much for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. Come on. We love you, brother. Thank you. And please thank him if you received a membership. Thank you, sir. Are you streaming? You are streaming tonight. You're going to stream in an hour from now, right? All right. Anyway, let me know as we start to wind down so we can put your chat in, and that way people can go over to your channel when they're done here. Because I did see you were posted for 7 or 7:30, something like that. Oh, yeah. Definitely feeling good on a Friday. And I'm excited to see that this is moving at a fast pace. I really want to know more. right ankle was broken. I wonder if she was pushed down the stairs and then stabbed. Yeah, man, so many things. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's all going to come out soon.
Socket to show the eyeball was there, had been there. Her whole eyeball is gone. It's gone. Did that happen during the dismemberment? Was she hit so hard at some point the eyeball was dislodged? There should be some, at least, residue within the eye socket to show she ever had an eyeball. It is gone, Joe Scott.
Let's take this in from two perspectives, okay? If it was something that was done in the pre-death stage, they would have seen some kind of evidence of hemorrhage indwelling in there. Now, as to whether or not it was removed in a postmortem, who knows at this point in time, because you would have, and actually on the socket itself, I've had cases like this where you would see tool marks because of sharp instrument in the eye socket right here. Okay, if somebody's trying to remove an eye externally, you would see tool marks on this area. My suspicion is, and again, this is very graphic stuff, you're talking about maggot activity at this point.
All right. And then when you get into that, you get an entomology. And although this is, not an easy discussion, it's something that happened and we can't get away from that. I mean, had people taken the warning, this might not have happened. She might not have lost her life. They were already onto him. And remember, I'm sure she had a big jealousy streak in her. David was grooming her. David was telling her, when you're 18, I'm going to marry you. And then at the same time, she's seen him sleeping with other children that she called, she said, you mean graping kids? He had multiple relationships with multiple underage children. All right. Hey, my pastor calls me Mish. How you doing? Good to see you. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's crazy. Latchkey kid, where it was reported her ankle. Look, where was it? It was reported on the autopsy, but I didn't see anything broken. Look, does that say broken? See, that's me. I'm not a medical examiner, so I think she's talking about that right there. Are you on the same page, Flojo, like in real time with me? Look at the autopsy report. I don't know if that's saying broken. I thought they were saying that it was sawed or sawed off or something like that. But you guys could tell me your interpretation. That was the first time I heard that. He was absolutely gaslighting her. Absolutely. She was abused and groomed. But that's what I think she's talking about. Nope, her parents have not spoken out at all. They said now that they know the totality of what happened to her, they're saying they're too devastated, but I don't know.
Tom, and maggots will feast in this area and they'll clean the area out. And I've seen this happen over and over.
I still think there would have been residue. I think that she struggled when she was first stabbed. She was stabbed multiple times, and that one of the stabs went in her eye.
Well, we'll see if they can actually tie that back. Can I make one more point, and I'll shut my mouth?
Please, because I want to get to the fact she's got 2 missing fingers. 2 fingers are gone, right? Just like the eyeball. You want to tell me maggots marched off with those 2?
No. I'm not going to tell you that. What I will tell you, though, is that this injury that she has on the left side, it doesn't communicate with the lung, but we don't have a weapon at this point in time. Guess what? If they did what I think they may have done, what they're talking about in this autopsy report, they talk about the cortical surface of the rib. That means the outer surface of the rib. That knife or that instrument made contact with that rib. Guess what they can do with this? And it. They are going to remove that rib. They'll clean it up, and they're going to turn that rib over to toolmarks section. And they will examine it. They can look at it with the unaided eye. They can look at it microscopically, and we can get a sense, perhaps, of what type of instrument was involved. If it goes into the liver, though it's a solid organ, you can't do tool mark on that. However, that rib, that insult right there, is going to be key here, and they're going to hang on to that. Additionally, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but with the dismemberment, okay, they're going to take sections of bone from that as well, like the ends of the bone. If you're talking about the femur or the humerus.
I mean, this is where it gets triggering for me, is to see this little girl was, in fact, a little girl, 11 going into 12 when he groomed her. Now, imagine that when you were that age. Imagine when you were, like, let's say you're my age, right? I don't know how old I was when Britney Spears was out, but I remember taking a friend's niece to the Britney Spears concert in Mountain View, right? Can you imagine if that kid would have had Britney Spears texting her and saying, "Hey, what's up?" Starting conversations. You want to come over to my house? Now I'm using Britney Spears as a like non-threatening person, right? That would probably not do that to children, but I'm trying to understand and get you to relate that any one of your children. I saw someone in chat that said you had the tickets to go to a concert for Australia and to go see David. That could have happened to any one of our children. All right. And they didn't heed to the warning signs. And I'll show you that. And I'm going to show you some of the big warning signs in a bit.
The humerus in the arm, the femur in the leg, they'll take the sections out of there where this instrument passed through. I don't think it's the same section. They're talking about that this instrument, whatever it is, passed through both the soft tissue and through the bone. Yeah.
That is a ferocious stab to pass through the soft tissue, which is your skin, fat, muscle, and through the bone, which gives me a very good idea as to how she lost her eye and 2 fingers because, Joe Scott, it says in the autopsy report, there are defensive wounds. So if she's doing that, and a stab is happening, it could easily go through her left eye. You'd find markings here and here, maybe on her legs if she's in a fetal position. That's what defensive wounds mean.
Yep. So the trick is, are they going to be able to prove that? And this is one of the problems that you run into, Nancy. Let me throw this out at you, okay? If you read that report, they actually use the term liquefied, and so that's what you're dealing with these remains. Okay, so we've lost a lot at this point because the cellular degradation that has taken place, it has literally liquefied in the bottom of this body bag.
And the fact that they had her in the hot summer. You guys ever been to hot or the heat in a black car in Los Angeles at that time? And really earlier I read something that said she was there 4 months. I don't know how that's going to pan out or who didn't smell it by that time, but how could it have been there for 4 months? I don't understand. Remember, he saw for 4 years. Yep, they knew, but God knows what. Hope they find them all. Yeah, there are others, and they're trying to get people to come forward. She may have bled to death. She could have bled to death internally, but Joseph Scott Morgan in other interviews say that she would have bled everywhere. With that, she could have bled internally. She definitely bled externally too. But maybe he since he was lying in wait, maybe he had a tarp and he did that over a tarp. We just don't know. Coffin plus everyone had to at one. Yeah, he had a coffin at one of his concerts. Wasn't that the concert after he killed her? Anger. Man, he was just trying to delete her.
So they're really fighting an uphill scientific battle here to try to understand what actually happened. More to come.
Well, I know this. I know she had defensive wounds. I know that the stab wounds to this little girl were so vicious, it went through the soft tissue to the bone. I know that the defensive wounds most likely mean she's doing this, which could indicate how she got 2 fingers sliced off of her hand. I know her left eye is gone and that her head is partially skeletonized. And I know that when you pick something up like a body bag with 6 handles, this is where you look for DNA. You look everywhere, but this is an obvious choice for DNA to be found.
Absolutely.
Yes, no.
Absolutely. Points of contact, Nancy. That's what we're looking for. And if any of these idiots did not have gloves on, okay.
You notice that he says any of these idiots. Guys, there's going to be other people that were involved. I speculate that the manager moved the car when David was going on tour and he's like, "Hey bro, can you move that?" Because whatever excuse he made, I think the manager is absolutely going to be and already has been part of those 3 probative grand juries. 3 of them, guys. If we knew that they were having 3, we would have probably been looking a lot closer at David and saying, damn, he is going to be arrested soon. We just had no idea. I know, me too. In the pictures, she's got the best pictures of this little angel, Celeste.
There's and something people don't understand about body bags. These nylon handles are very coarse, okay? And so you have a weave that's in there. So this transference of, say, touch DNA that might be there would transfer into those fibers. That's why they're swabbing these. It would not surprise me, Nancy, if they had not taken those handles and clipped them off and preserved those. The body bag itself will be
Well, they
preserved,
darn well
okay?
better. That's a perfect place to get DNA. It's got like a consistency of a rope because
It does.
your sweat, your
weed.
touch DNA gets down in those fibers. It's a treasure trove of DNA,
Yes,
unless they thought to wear
it is.
gloves. Then we're screwed. But on that body bag, on her body.
I don't think so. They are also talking about the Tesla taking pictures, and in the Hollywood neighborhood, how many cameras they had out there. Maggie Gomez, Jay, you are more classy. Well, thank you. I don't know then what, but hey, I'll take it. Foxy Amazon. Trust me, I've had students hit the bone. Oh, you guys are talking medical stuff in here, huh? And inside the plastic bag on top of the black car. Yep, in the sun. They say 4 months, but we're gonna have to like get this timeline once everything comes out, because I don't think we knew much. We didn't. Nancy will tell them like it is. Yep. It's funny.
She was still wearing the black tube top, which leads me back to you, Dave Mack. Not now, but
that's what I wanted to talk about, was that black tube top. I hope that they show the picture of her, because earlier I saw a picture of Celeste in the black tank or tube top, and then Nancy said this, and I was like, dear Lord, man. Oh, all right. I forgot all about the commercials. Did you get a subscription? Thank you, Annette. Happy Friday, everybody. I know it's a tough topic, but we're doing it together, and we get to talk about it, right?
In a moment, I want to pull up that video of a concert where there is apparently a Celeste lookalike up with his family members, relatives, watching his concert, because according to what we're learning, that concert is after her death. And so that's the concert. But let's see. Is this right there? Is that a Celeste lookalike wearing the black tube top like her? Or are they?
Isn't that wild that he had different Celeste lookalikes? And there's that tube top. I do wonder, is it the same tube top? And then I ask you the question, guys, who's who? Can you really tell? Really? Can any of you guys really tell from that picture that's up there? Look at this. And then I'm going to put that back on. There's no way. There's no way you can tell if that was her or that was her. And there's other ones too. Web sleuth medical practitioners. Here you got them. They look so much alike. He did that on purpose. TGIF, GG. All right, so I'm going to get back to that. There was a lot of Celeste lookalikes. But when Nancy puts, wait, let me bring this down and put that up. I would have said, yeah, that's her. That's probably the tube top. But then I see this and I'm like, you know what? I'd be lying if I tell you I could tell which one it was, because I can't. And I think he did that on purpose. He liked to play head games and manipulate and groom. I think he enjoyed all of that. All right, let's continue. If that was her, then that's probably the black tube top she had.
Trying to pull it over on us that she was still alive? Because I want you to check the dates, Dave Mack, while I speak with Dr. Geraldine Utter. But is that concert after when we think she's dead? So did they go to that elaborate effort to create a ruse that she's still alive? This is from clips of David on TikTok. She was found in her black tube top. Just let that percolate for a moment. And then, is that a Celeste lookalike at the concert? Okay. That aside, I can't wait to drop that bomb on Philip Dubé. Dr. Geraldine Utter is joining us. She is a renowned clinical psychologist specializing in psych evaluations and risk assessments within the criminal justice system.
And that's why I say that he was playing head games. When I watched this episode earlier to see what I was going to cover, I saw that, and then I was like, and this is Tiff. My girl Tiff helps me do all the collages and research. And I was like, hey, can you put a collage together of Celeste and compare her to Asia? So who's who, right? I mean, you can tell if you're looking at your TV right now, but if we back that up about 20 feet and blurry it up, it absolutely could be Celeste. But since we now know she was already dead, then it probably wasn't her. It was either Asia, which is already flipped on David, or another one of the lookalikes. He had several, by the way. We're going to hear all about it soon, I'm sure.
She is author of Mainlining Philly, Survival, Hope, and Resisting Drug Addiction. Aftershock, how past events shake up your life today. And she is the star producer of Utter Nonsense.
Okay, we're done with it, Nancy show. I love her, but we're not gonna. I don't want Philip DeVay. I just wanted that part.
These new details,
gonna-
okay?
Pull this down. I want to show you some other red flags and the evidence. That way we can. That way we don't. It's not just like news and stuff, all newsy. All right, come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. I'm pretty sure we hit the goal today, so I will be giving out a book. All right, Smoke and Mirrors. Now check this out. I thought this was interesting on TikTok, and I could sit here all day playing TikTok for you of eerie shit. All right, but this one says, "Ain't no way David liked kids." There were no signs of it. Now he's being sarcastic. This was posted a day ago. He gave so many signs justice for Celeste. Let me make this bigger and I'll play it. I mean, besides that, besides what I'm showing you.
I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything goes. Delete.
Hold on. Did you notice in this one they didn't blur it out? I wish I knew what date this was. All right. I'm pretty sure it was Asia at the show as well. All right. But he was still playing mind games. And you'll see that as this whole thing unfolds. He plays a ton of mind games. Good night, Kathy. Thank you for coming and supporting the channel. Yes, squirrel. All right. Yeah. He likes really young Latinas with curly hair. But I think he was looking for girls to kind of be like doubles of her. There's another girl that I saw on TikTok. He looked like he saw a ghost. Now I believe it was after Celeste's death. He was doing some kind of sign or meet and greet, and this girl walks up and it looks again like this one, and his face looks like he saw a ghost. He does like a double take and he's like, oh shit. He gives a girl a hug, but he looks creeped out. All right, let's continue. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, all the fun stuff. All right, let's get back to this. This is sarcastic that there were no signs. All right, I'm gonna let you just listen to the whole thing through. It's not long.
I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
I want to tell everyone, are you giving him proof? Oh, I can't. I'm not going to play that music, but hold on.
Pray for his career chat.
We need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too? Can we delete? Can we delete?
He's serious. I don't know why she thinks that's funny. Go in the Epstein list.
Yo, wait.
When your card declines at therapy and they bring in that Hello Kitty girl you met in 2021. I don't know what that means or the significance. Maybe someone else does, but I mean, there's just a ton of warning signs. Look at them. BFF kitties. I mean, come on, guys. The one before that was showing both of them. Grown-ass man. Look, he's got Hello Kitty earrings on, too. Paying off Celeste's friend not to expose him. Look at, oh, there's a one. He did a double take. He's like, wait, what the hell? Who is that? Look, watch. I don't want to play the music. That's why I'm trying to. Look at that. He's like, what the? And then they've got two other victims here, guys. All right. So I just wanted you to see that. There are 3 witnesses so far that we know about in the case. In the pedo case. Okay. And let me show you the evidence. And so they're covering their faces. 3 witnesses. One of them was Celeste. Celeste is now dead. They've got 2 more. I've seen pictures circulating, but the faces are all scratched out. Okay? Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're doing with CP. We're converting that to CSAM, but if you don't let people know, they won't know. So I purposely put on my thumbnail child, and then I put P with, and I didn't put an O to tell, just did that to say CP should be called CSAM, right? Child PORN should actually be child sexual abuse material. So we're trying to convert that so everybody says that. I mean, kids can't consent to making porn, only adults could. So there's no child porn. So that's what we're trying to get away from, right? That's what I'm telling everybody. I just want to make sure, because every channel is calling it CP. All right. I want to go over some of the evidence collected. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon, SoCal. Everyone good? I'm just getting in before concert starts. How long before this guy gets to jail? Well, he's in segregation right now, so I don't know. I have no idea. All right, I want to just go over some of the evidence collected too. We've been here for a while. I want to show you some of the evidence and Steve Fisher, what he has to say. All right, so some of the evidence collected on September 8th of 2025, they were released to the medical examiner, A. Gonzalez, in 2025, all right? Except the insects, the body bag, and the trash bag. The insects were released to medical examiner on September 11th, 2025. They had a hair kit. They collected the head in a head hair kit and packaged and sealed it in a black biohazard bag. Insects, they collected them in a plastic container with 70% alcohol and packaged and sealed into a brown paper bag, right? Because that's going to tell us approximately when. The following items were also collected into individual swab boxes and sealed into the same physical evidence. Swabs of the side handles of the body bags, and basically every swab of the top handle, swab of the zipper, swab of the bottom. All right. The following items were cut from the body bag, packaged and sealed individually. That's what they were talking about earlier. So they cut out the body bag top and bottom handles, wrapped them in butcher paper. Body bag side handles times 6. There were 2 there, 6 there, wrapped together in butcher paper. Top zipper placed in a coin envelope, and the bottom same thing. All right. Following items that were collected, wrapped in separate white bin, they call it bindles. Trace 1 blue plastic pieces on the right leg attached to the torso. So that's the blue plastic pieces we're talking about with the 3D print, which we still have to get to because I haven't even got to that yet, but I will. We're still going to get into that right after. All right, so blue plastic pieces. They don't even know what that is yet. Trace 2 blue plastic pieces on the legs and arms, all right? And it's a supposition that these blue plastic pieces were from a 3D printed saw. Once we know what the material is, we'll have a better idea. The following items were collected and placed in black biohazard bags, then into a paper bag. Leggings, 3 pieces, underwear, shirts, and 2 socks, or a shirt. Right, that shirt was a tube top. So she still had her socks on with almost all skeletal remains, some liquefied. She had that tube top. And with the tube top, I read earlier that there were stab marks in it. They were able to see that's where she was stabbed through. Underwear and then leggings. The following items were collected and placed in sealed bags, and that was the body bag and the trash bag where they had her body in the front trunk. I hate calling it a frunk. Anyway, this has been out for some time. Date of this report they have is October 24th, 2025. And the autopsy was 9. It was the 9th month of 2025. And they barely approved it this year into 2026. I don't know what the delay was, if that was for one of the probative grand juries or not. I have no idea. All right. We do have to get into this though, because there was a reason I brought this up, and this was David cut up body parts of 3D saw. Right, let's take a look. I'm not going to go over all this this, but I do want to talk about those blue pieces. And I wish I had my 3D printer here and all the different filaments and the way they're laid out. All right, take a
that I've seen.
Blue plastic and wounds. We just saw
It says, so my husband and I were reading the autopsy report and saw the portion about the blue plastic in her wounds. This is so disgusting to even type, but he immediately said 3D printed hacksaw. Apparently that's really a thing and can be easily purchased online. They're also known to be used for bones and field dressing like hunting deer. So it appears that we have actually got the method of dismemberment, allegedly a 3D printed hacksaw, blue plastic being found, okay?
Hey, Bab.
Looking like this, isn't it? 3D printed metal hacksaw, and this has a blue blade on it as well.
And this is what I was researching today as I was creating the thumbnail for you. Now, mind you, I don't know if you saw the Jumpsuit Pablo video recently where he hasn't posted in a couple months, and he said his mental health's kind of getting in the way because when you're doing this, what I do and what other true crime creators do, you're chasing these stories all day long, right, Mab? Mab's in the house. Also, go sub up to Mab. So all day long, you're chasing these cases and you got to have the latest news. So by the time I get the news from last night and then I come today, all kinds of new shit is out. And you guys are like, did you hear that? Did you see that? So it's really it takes a toll and it taxes your mind chasing these cases. If you guys didn't watch, you should definitely go check out the Jumpsuit Pablo. He's having a little bit of a mental health crisis. So anyway, that's the 3D print. I went over that with my boss today. We actually got a saw from his desk, went to the filament, printed some stuff out, and it's absolutely plausible. That's probably what happened. All right, so that's it right there. Let's continue though. I mean, I could have printed one. It usually takes about overnight to print something like this, and then you got to clean the filament off because they have the support on it. Every time you print something, there's support. So you said, has it been taking a toll on you too? I mean, it does. I did not even stream yesterday, and I was still obsessing over this case and the Guthrie case. Yeah, we did. I mean, we literally went over that. I went over this video with him and we were like, yeah, let's look at that. Oh, he privated it. Oh man, if you guys saw the Jumpsuit Pablo video, it makes me sad, but I also can relate. Now, he's been doing it for a lot longer than I have, but I've noticed I have to take the weekends off because if I don't take the weekends off all weekend long, I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just trying to chase the news and I'm like, I need to spend time with my family and all this other stuff. So big prayers to Pablo and any other true crime creators or creators that are having the same thing, because I can relate. But he's been doing it a lot longer. All right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you need to take a break. Yesterday I did because baby Guilty was sick and she had testing for school, but I didn't want to be consumed. That's what it does.
This is apparently a thing. So let's take a look. So look, this is the whole breakdown of how you can make this. I don't know if you...
I'm glad he's showing that because what he just picked off is the supporting filament. You always have to do that. Like I said, if I printed this out, this would be solid. There probably wouldn't be any support in there. And you could put how much support you want it to be. So if I want this to be something that I throw, then I do like 80% inside. That makes it solid. If I just want it to show nicely but be light, I would put almost no supports inside, and there would be some supports on the outside that just printed up, and I'd have to pull the stuff off of this. All right. So let's continue.
Printed it himself if you bought it, or it could be, you know, just a plastic hacksaw he got from somewhere else. But this is a real thing. As you can see, the blue blade there. I wonder if David watched this video. Honestly, the fact that you could craft something like this so easily, and you just have to have these serrated edges that are really sharp. And you know, it's made of plastic. It's not going to be strong enough. You're not going to be able to stop teeth breaking off.
Prayer so
through bone. But as you can see, this ain't too difficult. This ain't difficult to put together.
Nope.
This wasn't hard. Okay. And there it is. Yeah.
Agreed.
It's actually chilling to see that. It's actually so chilling to see that. But that's now the theory, that he might have cut her up with a 3D printed hacksaw.
Now, guys, that would make sense on why it was so sloppy, because that's also tiring as well. It's very tiring to use something like that. Even if it was metal, it's really tiring to sit there in one spot. Now, you see this cutting through wood, and it already took 5 more steps than I would want to do. I'm already tired by the time what he just did. But imagine not knowing what you're doing like he did and trying to take the body apart at the joints and it not working, because it doesn't. It doesn't work the way you think it might. Midnight Lace, happy Friday. Good to see you. Black Dahlia, huh?
It's just twisted. Okay. Just so tired of hearing about it. So the write-up, we already read that. Okay. So yeah, that I just need to digest that for a second, because that actually does look like what happened. And so what we're going to see later on in this document that I think is really interesting, that's worth looking into, is some accounts of actually how she was found.
They do.
Obviously, we've got the toxicology report here, and it says alcohol was present.
What they call it, blue plastic pieces, and the saws that have the blue on them aren't necessarily plastic pieces. They are. It's like a thin film. I don't think that's what they're talking about, but we'll find out. We will definitely find out. I know what a saw blade looks like that has that plastic kind of over it. It's like a light. It actually looks like what I have here. I have this light plastic thing like this, and it peels off. I want to show it so you can see, because I know what you're talking about. It's like this. They usually, the saws will come with like a plastic piece that comes over it, and then if you're using it, it's gonna get those little bits and pieces. But I think this is a lot more transparent and different than what they're talking about. I think the plastic pieces are more defined, more of a filament, more of like the supporting. It's not even really plastic; it's a support for the filament. But we'll see. We'll see. I just think it's different, but we don't know.
But that might have been produced in her body.
You can remove it. Yeah.
At some point else.
Yeah.
Seems to appear that she tested positive for methamphetamine and MDMA, as well as benzodiazepines. Now that is very, very interesting. And I haven't heard people talking about this benzodiazepine part that was found in the liver.
You happy, Cappy?
So I do wonder what that's gonna work out being.
Yes.
So it's got some information about the alcohol analysis. A presumptive positive result, PP, signifies a detection of a drug class, but must be confirmed by additional testing for true identification. So I don't believe it was a significant amount. Obviously, we've already seen these pictures of exactly where the wounds were. It's really sad to see that. And then obviously this one's more comprehensive. It actually shows the cuts, multiple defects here. It looks like there were attempts. Could be more stab wounds, could be exit wounds, another defect there on the side. But these are where the cuts would have been, the severances, which is just so dark. So some of the accounts from how the autopsy went down, as well as how the car ended up getting pounded, is quite interesting as well. So we're actually going to hear what actually went down with some of the police that were present for the discovery of the body. So it says a passerby reported the abandoned black Tesla parked on the street to the LAPD. It was impounded and towed. On the 8th of September, a manager noticed a foul smell emanating from the vehicle and reported it to Auto Detective. The detective basically inspected the vehicle's front trunk, found a large black zippered body bag with handles, partially unzipped the bag.
It depends which state you're in. In California, I'm not 100% sure, but we don't see the evidence. There is no presentation for us as people, right? At some point, they will release it. They'll release the everything. You'll be able to get the documents. There's going to be certain things that are sealed until they decide to unseal them. But if there's no trial, we're not privy to see the evidence presented in any of this, right? At all. And in this case, you can go in the courtroom and you can watch and you can take notes, but you can't have a phone and you can't have cameras. So if some reason he decides to take a plea deal, which I doubt he will, then guess what? We won't see anything until it gets unsealed. Somebody gets it and then presents it to you. Okay. Sadie's mama, I'm glad you're back. Your brother called, checks on you. I'm glad. All right. Benzos are like a downer. Just think meths as an upper, benzos as a downer. She was taking uppers and downers. But I don't think there was enough to call it an OD. The amount that we saw was inconclusive in one, which means that it probably was not from an OD if he's going to try to blame it on that. Now, I have the same document here. We're just going to listen to him for a minute until I pull you out.
Revealing a human torso in the back of a head. He pronounced death on scene at 1100 hours with no medical intervention. No person in custody at this time. Charges pending, no weapon recovered.
No.
So that's the state that the body was found in. That's the situation that investigators and police are dealing with. And they're doing the toxicology. They're finding all these stab wounds. We didn't know about this for 7 months, but day one, the cops are knowing this, right? And within a couple of months, we're getting all of the information. So there's more information here about how it went down. Basically, this is a witness statement. Basically explained how the passerby called for the car to be taken in. We already heard that information, basically.
All right, I'm going to drop off this because I want to show you my own. I'm going to wrap it up with the body examination. I need to read this to you. And then SF investigates what he says about hours after the prosecutors allege that David killed Celeste and what happened. So everybody's in my description. I didn't know what I was going to use. You guys can see this guy. He actually has two. He has Trap More Ross and he has Trap Lore Ross. He has two channels. I think this one has 450,000 and the other one has like 1 million, I think. But we're going to pull that down for now. I want to show you this and talk to you about what's next. I want to just make sure I covered my full title. I did not want to give you guys clickbait. All right. No clickbait. We're talking about the autopsy released, sick phone images in the CSAM. We talked about that. And the wiretap that they had on David since after Celeste went missing. And then what's next. All right. Really just want to make sure we catch all of it. I do believe someone did the saw, getting a vision, seeing 3 people around her. I'm sure there were. And those people are turning. They're turning witnesses, man. All right. Cuffed you. If you're talking to me, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. All right. Let me look here. Okay. So this one's just a little bit, I mean, it's a little descriptive of what happened. The body examination says he observed the decedent's posterior head and torso lying prone in a body bag inside of the front trunk. Her head was oriented towards the north, and she appeared of indeterminate age and ethnicity with dark hair and natural teeth. All right, they're saying she wasn't decapitated. They're saying her head and torso were both together, which I've heard several times. She was wearing a tube top, like we talked about several times, underwear, leggings and socks. I observed multiple holes in the front and the back of the tube top. So that's where he stabbed her, right? She was also missing. This is what I wanted to tell you guys. She was missing both arms above the elbows and both legs above the knees. So that's what I was trying to relate to you. When you look at the sections on there that are missing, there you see how there's drawing. Look on the right side. Look at the very right picture where you see the lines running across the legs and running across the arms. Those pieces were missing. All right. So I just want you to, I don't want the wrong information to be out there. That's why I'm trying to make sure I get this all in there. Grooming here on Fortnite 3D print. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know that too. I'm glad you know about the 3D printing and stuff. He's not going to take a plea. They're not going to give him less than the LWOP. No way. And there's got to be 2 trials now. One for CSAM and one for this. Now, anyway, that's what that means. Those pieces are missing. All right, let me pull this down and put this back up. All right, let me continue this real quick. Okay, so guys, she was missing both arms above the elbows and both legs above the knees. What the hell happened to those parts? Those are big parts missing. Now we're talking about both arms, both legs on the top and bottom, and one eyeball and 2 fingers gone. Where'd they go? Now, underneath that body bag was the black trash bag, and that contained the decedent's apparent compiled bilateral arms and legs. They weren't all there. Bilateral? Is that what, are they saying that that was the part that was? No. Okay, they're talking about the rest of it, I assume. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. They appear to have been dismembered into several fragments, which means he stopped and took a break and was like, it doesn't look like somebody that had experience doing this. All right, and the decedent is Celeste. The decedent was in an advanced state of decomposition demonstrated by foul odor, discoloration, liquefaction, insect activity, and partial skeletonization. All right, and skin slippage. You guys know what that means, right? The bone and the skin is it just comes right off. Like you can just like you think if somebody gets their finger stuck, you know why how men work at jobs and they don't wear their ring finger because they don't want it to get stuck. They could just pull that skin right off. That's why. That's skin slippage. Okay, bilateral means both. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. I just didn't want to say it wrong. But I also wanted to let you know what the hell happened. Okay, so skin slippage. The medical examiner noticed the 1-inch linear defect on her abdomen and a circular deflect on her left, what they call flank. Now, the left ring and pinky finger appeared to have been mutilated. I did not locate them during my examination. So those fingers gone, but she did have the tattoo that reads shh on the inside of her right index finger. She didn't have any other discernible scars or tattoos, and the identification was not viewable due to decomposition of the face and was not live scanned during the waterlogged fingers. All right. The fingers were waterlogged. That was what we talked about, them possibly her being frozen and then not frozen, but we don't know. She was assigned as Jane Doe back then. Now, this person positively identified Celeste Abigail Rivas via dental records. Wow, I didn't even know that. I didn't even see this yet. Notified the descendants' parents, which I'm glad they put out. So they then called Celeste's parents by telephone and told them on 9/16/2025, your daughter Celeste is dead. We've identified her. Tissue donation none addressed. Autopsy. Detective Byers requested a 2-hour autopsy notification. See case notes. And then we've got the evidence collected. We saw leggings, underwear, socks, shirts, body bag, all that stuff. And then we see all the swabs that they did. We're going to see all that in the trial if it comes. All right. And then last thing, let me tell you about SF Investigates. And then class is dismissed, my friends. Happy Friday to everybody, by the way. I hope that you got out of the episode what I was trying to show you. It's very sad, but we also want to know what happened and tell Celeste's story properly, right? Because otherwise you get bits and pieces and it's not correct. SF Investigates confirmed today that one of the missing fingers had the David tattoo. Ah, interesting. I'll leave that up there for a minute. All right. So I'm looking at SF Investigates, and he has this pinned comment from 2023, and I'm looking at all this stuff, right? I'll be live on News Nation. I looked at that, made updates on the timeline, building period just before. He talks about court. Thank you to those who came forward. A couple of other items of interest in the hearing. 10 terabytes of drive for David's iCloud account alone. So we talked about 40 terabytes. 10 of those terabytes were just his iCloud. And remember, his iCloud from his phone had a bunch of CSAM on it and other devices of David's. Now, I have a little thing here that I carry around, and it's 2 terabytes. And I'm not even close to full on these 2 terabytes. They're talking about 10 terabytes alone. This guy was just breeding content to go to trial. All right. Just left evidence everywhere. All right, so April 23rd, he's heading into a preliminary hearing. He expects it to be continued. And then I think this is what I wanted to talk about. On April 24th, all right, last year of today, just hours after the prosecutors alleged that David killed Celeste Rivas Hernandez, his management held a withered album release party in Los Angeles that began at 8 p.m. Guys, David then likely took a red-eye flight to New York right after. Now, all of his managers were likely in LA for the party, Los Angeles. The house that had Celeste lured to, according to prosecutors, was leased by his management company. So the question is, who knew what? And when did they know it? April 23rd and 24th were not quiet, uneventful days or nights. David had just performed at Coachella, and his album was being released, and a party was being held in his honor. All right. There were people around him, and he was the center of the attention. It is difficult to believe that he had much time completely alone. And guys, this is why it makes sense that he maybe put her on ice and kept her on ice for 2 weeks and then finished his shit he needed to do. And he came back, they say at least 2 weeks later is when David dismembered her. So on those dates, he did 2 stab wounds. He killed her. There were probably some defensive wounds. He put her body in that freezer that he had Dippin' Dots in. And he came back 2 weeks later and chopped her up. He was on. Okay, that's cool. That's all good. I don't need that. I've got enough content today. I know that's crazy. I don't know what we're gonna see. As Van Halen says, class dismissed. Hot for the teacher. Good night, Cool and Chris. Have a good one. It's only 6 o'clock here, so I am not going to sleep yet. Watch the face plant he did at Coachella. I want to, but I don't know if I have that. Send me a link. Has anyone sent me anything, by the way? Probably. I love you guys. You guys send me everything while I'm streaming. Watch Human Remains. Oh, these are new cases. David's closest Discord. He still has it? He still's got his Discord up? I don't even have David's closet. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to go back into that account. Thank you for sending that over, Cuff You. But I do not use Discord. I have one, but I'll have to log in to see it. I can't do that right now. All right, let's continue. Let's continue and wrap up. All right, so who knows what when? Let me make sure I'm on the right page. If you freeze it, we separation. Maybe, but if he had kept her body even in a cool space, right? Wait, let me double check this and then I'll get back. Jay and Cynthia, my permission to send Jen's a Gypsy in private. My email. Love you guys. Thanks for covering it. All right. Thank you and good night. No problem. I know. That's what why was I thinking that too, Gigi? I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if he ate some of those things. All right. Oh, you got that link? Okay, cool. Face plant. All right. As soon as I'm done reading this, then I'll show you. This guy, man. Okay, so listen, this makes sense then. Thank you so much, Flojo. I appreciate you. Hey, Mom, you're leaving too? Mama Pearl? All right. So who knew and what? Guys, this is very clear to put a timeline together like this now that we see that between April 23rd and 24th, he was doing his tour and he was flying to New York and coming back and taking pictures. That totally makes sense now that he needed to put her body somewhere cool so that people wouldn't smell the decomp. And then you knew we already know he's obsessed with blood and cutting up and all the stuff is gory. His videos show him cutting off a piece of a girl's arm and her bleeding. It's like he fantasizes about that stuff, guys. So he took her life, probably fantasized about it the whole time he was doing his party and his stuff. And after he fantasized, he came back and cut her up. All right. Now, if you attended that party that I just talked about for David on April 23rd or 24th of 2025, very eventful days. If you attended the party and it brings back any memory of David or others and his immediate circle acting unusual, if you were at the rental house, if you saw Celeste around April 23rd or 4th, please contact LAPD Robbery Homicide Division if you're willing to speak with me. I'll keep your information confidential except as required for law enforcement. This is about justice for a 14-year-old. Attached is a message referencing the party held just hours after Celeste was killed. Thank you to those who are coming forward now in the David case. All right. And this is the day after, or it could have been the 6:03 p.m. if she was killed on the 23rd. This is like 24 hours later. The host of Withered album release party sent a text blast. David's Wither album release party kicks off in 90 minutes. When you arrive at the 100 Thieves compound, please enter through the parking lot to the left and then the back of the building. Thanks, and I'm assuming whatever. See you later or whatever it's going to say. All right. I mean, that's just twisted. So twisted. All right. And then I will leave you guys off on Mama Pearl's not going anywhere. I'll go over there and say, come on back, Mom. Just kidding. All right. Let's do this then. We're going to show him faceplant and then we'll give away a book because I promised if we met the goal, I would give away a book. And I'm ordering books for Crime Con next week so that I can have them. All right. So hit the like button, drop a comment. You do have to be a member and you do have to be in the United States. Otherwise it will cost like $100 to ship a book. Last time I shipped 2 books to Canada, it costed $60. And that was like a year and a half ago. And I said, I am never shipping international again. All right. All right, let's check this out. This was him at Coachella, and he face planted. And I hope he does that every day of his life in jail. He sure does have a purty mouth. Oh, I don't want to play his music, though. Let's go back. Hold on. That's actually really funny. They said he went viral because of that. They're just playing it again and again. That makes me happy to see him faceplant like that. That's probably how he's going to feel every time he's in court. Oh, he absolutely wanted to create an alibi. He was posting pictures. Did you know that? It is fabulous. Thank you for sending it, FloJo, and anyone who brought it to my attention. He absolutely was creating an alibi, and I'll tell you why. When I was listening to a lot of stuff that Steve Fisher puts out, okay, Bree says, I want a book. Let me see a faceplant. Okay, when he was doing the Santa Barbara, New York, he was not posting pictures in real time. He was posting pictures of what he was doing from before as now because he was wearing the same clothes and you can see the background. He was trying to trick us and trick everybody and throw people off on the timeline. Like I said, mind games, but it didn't work because he's an idiot and they have all the evidence and it's time stamped. All right. Yes. David in jail. They're going to tell him, you sure do have a purty mouth there, sir. All right. Happy. Hey, Jay and Chad, just tapping in. Wish everyone a happy safe weekend. Thank you. You too. All right. We're going to give away my book. I'll sign it, send it off. Let's get to it. Perception deception. You can't leave a digital footprint anymore, guys. We're in 2026. Everybody's filming everything. How about you just do something good instead of being evil? How about you have a bunch of money like that and you donate to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children? Or you go and you go to another country and help a family of people that don't. I just can't. I don't understand why people that have everything would do something like that. I don't know where MM Clar is. It's interesting. Under your scars, I'll pay. Okay. All right. Under your scars. No problem. I don't know. I'll text her afterwards. I do not know. All right. Let's get to it, guys. Thank you for being here. We need justice for Celeste. Let me put that up one more time. Move that down. We need justice for Celeste Rivas. All right. So say a prayer that we do get that it goes fast and it's as painless as possible. Oh my God. If anyone checked my search history, me too. Me too. The stuff I look up is wild. How long does it take for a bot? Yeah. We'll be locked up together then. Now we can sing gospel instead of that violence, death, and gore, right? Yep. They already took him out though. Interscope Records and everybody else is disowning his ass. All right, justice for Celeste Rivas, you got it. Let's give away a book and then we'll be out of here for the weekend. I did miss you guys yesterday, but I do sometimes it's a good idea to take a break because it is like chasing these cases. If you want to, tell the best version of it, you want to be up to date. I don't want to give you guys shit that you already know. And so, yeah, it does get rough. And I do also say a prayer for Jumpsuit Pablo that he, gets himself sorted and comes back and can balance his stuff out. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate it. I missed all of you guys. I answered some of you guys. Baby Guilty just yelled through my window, Grandma, I love you. So cute. Oh, I love her so much. Jay, wow. So you can make anything you want, man. Maggie, that's what Luigi Mangione did. He printed that 3D gun. All right. Yeah, right. We'll be locked up together. Oh, I love Baby Guilty. All right, let's get out of here because I'll be sitting here talking about her, and I can't talk about her on this channel. So, let's get to it. Someone asked me today did you see the posting on Facebook about something or other? And I was like, man, I can't do Facebook anymore. I can't show anything because after what happened in the Madeline Soto case with all the crap that went down and them trying to give away my car and all that, like I just can't have that. I can't have it. So you guys will have to meet me in Vegas. All right, we'll have to meet up in Vegas. All right, let's go. Fingers crossed. Vegas! Hit that like button. Drop a comment. Vegas! Vegas or bust. You're my driver. You're the driver, babe. Babe, her name's Babe. I'm Mom, and she's Babe. Yes, she is. My girl Tiff is my Facebook guru. I've never known anyone that has as many damn contacts as she does. She is like the ultimate, and creator too, by the way. Every time I'm like, oh, really? You talk to them? You know them? How do you know that? This girl. Look at her being in the bushes. All right, who is that? Wait, Cool and Chris already won a book. Didn't I already sent you a book. And she left. So we're going to do it again, guys. Cool and Chris just won a book. I just sent it to her like a week ago. So I'm going to completely clear this, guys. So it's not biased in any way. Cool and Chris, we do love you though, but you already got a book. All right, let's try this again. I just want to make sure I'll do it right. That was Mrs. Guilty that ran by and was being silly, by the way. She's going to be our RV driver. All right. She drives RVs every day, so she's good at it. All right. Facebook is the only thing I do. I do not do Facebook because I can't post anymore. Oh, that's good. She's making shirts. That's our merch girl, my girl Tiff. Yes, Queen Guilty. I cannot wait to go to Vegas, you guys. All right, I'm about to give out a book. Let's go. Day one needs a book. You don't have a book yet? Oh my God. We just hit 222 people right now. So I'm going to say a prayer that Celeste and the other children that he violated and whatever he did to gets the justice they deserve. Thank you, stars. I appreciate that. All right, one more time. Cool and Chris already has one. Plus, she went to bed. That's not why, though. I would have reached out to her, but she did win last time. So, me. Oh, definitely. Yes. Thank you, guys. I love having the new. Look at who won the book. Didn't you say, weren't you the one that just said you would pay for it? Wait, no. Or Bree Net. Okay. Where are you? Where's Bree? Are you the one that said that earlier, actually? Jay drives because you're too short to reach the pedal. No. Mrs. Guilty is the same height as me, Foxy. Where's Breve now? I saw her earlier. You know who's gonna have to drive us, Foxy? Baby Guilty. Because Baby Guilty is already taller than both of us. So technically she would have to drive. All right. Bree, you won. I don't remember if you were the one that said you needed or wanted a book. And are you in the United States? Oh, that was you. Okay. You live. Do you want a guilty of crime book? Do you have one? She's here and she's in green. All right. So here we go. You won. If you want to claim your book, please email me. Also, Tiff is making Mother's Day coloring books too. You guys should definitely go check that out. My mom never thought in a million years that she would be coloring. It's so good for the soul. All right, I went in there into her house last week and she had the coloring book. She took Baby Guilty to the dollar store and she bought herself some crayons, and my mom was coloring a page of the Guilty of Crime book. I've never seen you color, Mom. My mom's I've never seen that in my whole life. So kudos to, I think Tiff, you sent that, right? You sent me a package. Kudos to all my Guilty of Crime girls. All right. So there's a new one she's making. You should definitely drop the link, Tiff, or one of the mods. And Bree, you're going to want to email me at, right there, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Right there. Thank you, Kel. All right. So congratulations. I'm ordering the books. I'll sign them. I'll ship you one. They still have to be made. So don't worry. If you email me, as soon as I get them, I'll reship it to you. Or I can ship it directly to you, but I can't sign it. It's up to you. Just send me an email, okay? And congratulations. Yeah, that cool. Cuff you is just as obsessed as I am with these damn cases. I thought I was bad. I was about to say, Cuff you, you might as well just be a creator, girl. All right, guys. I love you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Please be safe. And again, welcome all the mods here. They do fantastic. The newest mod is Cuff You. We got Kel. Holly, we see time to time, but we still love you, girl. I know, I saw that. I did see that, but he was also wearing pink shoes. All right, good night, everyone. I love you guys. I will be back on Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. You should go watch Flojo, watch Mab, watch all the people that we love so much. Go watch them because I won't be back until Monday. All right? Mwah. Good night. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?